For 51 weeks of the year, Davis lends itself to the traditions of West Virginia mountain life. Since 1975, that 52nd week of the year in Davis has been reserved for the nastiest, gnarliest, dirtiest hare scrambles held anywhere in the world. During race week, the streets of Davis remind one of a Wild West boom town. Tents and other temporary structures line the city streets and fill vacant lots. Vendors dispense food, riding gear, and thousands of souvenir shirts that wildly proclaim, "I rode," or "I was at," or "I survived the world's toughest race." All that remains now is the final countdown and how to get the jump on your rival. As the Blackwater legend grew, a third element was added. We're talking spectators. Numbers of spectators. They line the roads, the bridge, the banks, the hill, and even spill over into the river. They call themselves the Route 93 Mud Fleas, and they're damn proud of that title. Mark Hyde, a four-time winner and acknowledged as King of Blackwater. Jeff Fredette, winner of the 1981 Blackwater 100. Timmy Coombs, winner in '88 and son of Blackwater promoter Dave Coombs. And Pennsylvania's famed Eddie Lojak, winner in '84 and the 1989 Blackwater victor. These men are all champions and some of the premier off-roaders in the world. The who, what, and where of Blackwater has been told. Now it's time to sit back and watch some of the funniest non-stop crash and burn anywhere. And we'll have it for you. Get your VCR ready. The best of American motorcycle racing continues. Blackwater, so famous.
You light me up on the inside. Come alive, revival. All right. That's right. Revival.
From 1975 to now, GNCC pays homage to the event that started it all, the Blackwater 100. The Snowshoe GNCC is held sacred each year, a tribute to the legends and founders of America's toughest sport. And it's all coming up next on RacerTV.com. GNCC returns to Racer TV this weekend for the historic Snowshoe GNCC, and boy, the stage is set. Johnny Gerard coming off a huge win in round number 8. Can he carry that momentum, and how about it? We would be remiss not to mention Grant Davis leading the XC2. He will line up on row number 1 today with Stu Baylor, Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong, arguably the greatest rock riders in the country. And it all starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racer!
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 9 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. Well, we made it to the mountain, Snowshoe Mountain, for the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC. Johnny Gallagher alongside me. Johnny, this is a race like no other. You basically have a party, you have concerts, you have Howard's Hole, and oh yeah, there's some racing in between.
How many times can you say that you're at an off-road race with some of the gnarliest off-road conditions in the world, and you can step across a nice little paved road, get yourself some Starbucks, maybe get a 5-star meal, stay in a 5-star hotel. It's a unique experience in motorsports. We're all enjoying it this weekend, but what we came here for is a race, and we've got a heck of a one lined up for today.
No doubt. And coming into today, Johnny Gerard coming off a win. Was it a win that he needed? Not necessarily, but it puts him in the right direction for, as he said, I'm not focused on those battles or the war. I'm focused on the war, not the battles. he did just that with the win, and more importantly, finishing in front of the guy he needs to, which is Stu Baylor.
You know, honestly, it was a big momentum shift, and was preparing to be a momentum shift in the opposite direction. Stu Baylor coming off a rough race at round number 7.
Yeah.
And then coming into round number 8, Stu Baylor looking like he's going to charge away to a win, and at the end, Johnny Gerard out of nowhere just starts charging, grabs the win, snatches that momentum back, carrying it in. And all these guys always talk about going into summer break, it's all about the points lead, it's all about being in the driver's seat, and that's exactly what Johnny's trying to hang on to, and Stu's trying to wrestle away. But we got some other players in there as well.
Yeah, no doubt. We got to show some love. In the XC2, Grant Davis, a third-place finish in the overall, and I got to go back a few years. I remember this happened with Caleb Russell, Ben Kelly. Caleb went to Ben on the podium, kind of off record, and he said, Ben, when we head to Snowshoe, you don't have that time adjustment anymore, buddy. You're lining up right next to us. We're going to get a chance to see that here today with Grant Davis lining up row 1 with Johnny, arguably the best rock riders in the country.
Absolutely, and Grant Davis, no slouch in the rocks himself.
Yeah.
From that area of Pennsylvania that just has some gnarly rock gardens. He's used to those conditions, and he's been on the overall podium multiple times already this year. But now it's even Stevens, man. There's no time adjustment. He doesn't get just to sit on these guys' rear wheel. Not that he's been doing that. He's earned these.
For sure.
But it's a completely different deck of cards that you got to play with when you're lined up wheel to wheel with these guys. You know, maybe it's a foreshadowing of things to come. He's young, but eventually we will see him on that XC1 line. We're going to get to see a preview of it this weekend and see how he fares.
Looking forward to seeing how he does. Of course, Craig DeLong going to be up there, as well as Jordan Ashburn and a couple more big names. The rest of that XC2, obviously Angus Reardon having a solid day as well.
Yeah, and that was another one. You know, the battle between Grant Davis, Angus Reardon. Angus had a great ride going, looking like he had the win in hand. Grant Davis, we found out after the race, a couple broken ribs coming in. Still somehow that last lap just digs deep, gets it done. And those two are just tooth and nail, both already having announced to re-sign with that Landers KTM team for multiple years. So their rides are secured. It's all about pride now. Who's going to get the job done in XC2 today? We're going to find out soon.
It's going to be a good one. Show some love to the FMF XC3 125 class. Dakota DeVore, he's been automatic lately. Looking forward to seeing him mix it up with some of those XC2, XC1 guys as well. All right, that is going to wrap things up for Johnny and I. We've talked enough about it, but we want to see what they're going to face as far as a track today. Of course, Howard's Hole, the big highlight, but there's more. And for a track description, a Yamaha racing track description, we will throw it to Jared Bolton.
Well, thanks, guys, and welcome back to Snowshoe Mountain. A little bit of a different look this year. You know, for years and years we've come here, and you have to contend with the rain. You have to contend with the fog. Well, look at this. There's sun so bright, it's kind of hurting my eyes a little bit. And you know what that means? It's actually pretty dry out there. You know, we've been coming here since 2007, and we've had a couple dry races here and there, but I'm not sure it's ever quite been this dry. It's driest I've ever seen it here in the last 14 years. So, what's that going to mean? It's going to change things. The ski slopes are going to be incredibly dusty. Be a little bit fast through that dust stuff. Those guys aren't scared. They'll keep going. When you get off the side of the mountain, actually, the dirt is actually in really, really good condition. That little bit of rain that they had a couple weeks ago that hasn't shown up this week helped out a lot and actually put some moisture in the ground. But the thing about Snowshoe is, it could not rain from now until next year, and you come back next year, it's still going to be muddy. There's natural springs all underneath the mountain, so there's still a little bit of mud to contend with, but by and far, the biggest story here this year is that it's the driest snowshoe ever. Going to change the look of the course a little bit. It's still going to be hard, it's still going to be tough, but it's going to be dry. They're going to turn some faster laps than they've ever turned here, and it's going to make for some great racing. Back to you guys.
All right, folks, and there you have it, the track description from Jared Bolton. Now you've seen what these riders are going to face for the next 3 hours out there today. Tough conditions, going to provide for some excellent racing action. Again, a little different start here this weekend. We're starting those rolling starts right there on Main Street. We're going to let Mikey Waynes head down there, give out those 10-second calls. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we're going to be back with 3 hours of racing action live on Racer TV.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Never give up. Wise words from Stu Baylor, and it paid off for him so far here today.
Yeah, and Stu Baylor with a really fast lap there. The only guy so far to be sub 29 minutes.
Now Johnny Gerard is to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor, folks. A new leader. Johnny Gerard is taking the lead away. This was unexpected, folks. Stu Baylor not giving up on it, though. He is right behind Johnny. folks. These are the final 2 turns around this left-hander. Johnny Gerard makes the right-hander, and there is Ricky Towery with the checkered flag waving. Johnny Gerard takes his 3rd win of the 2024 season.
I do it my way. Get up and go just like a renegade.
Love Snowshoe. From New England, love the rocks and roots, and there's just nothing quite like that place. Starting on the asphalt and making that first corner, trying not to slide out, and at the same time trying to make it around that corner first.
Jordan Ashburn leading the way up the FMF PowerPoint is on his way potentially to his first ever GNCC win, and also wrestling away the points lead from Ben Kelly leading into the summer break.
Snowshoe GNCC is gnarly. It's become a little faster paced over the past 5-10 years. I like to race. That's where I got my first win at up there. So I'd like to try to get another one up there on the mountain, and that place is always going to be special to me.
From the great state of Washington here to the great state of West Virginia, Dustin finally takes his first ever win here at the Snowshoe GNCC.
Snowshoe's one of a kind. It's a slick, nasty rock. So that would be where I got my first ever win in 2017. And since then, I have not won, but always consistently battling for that front spot every year.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. One leg fire, take it to the limit, gonna let it fly. On your mark, get ready, set, go. It's that time, everybody kick it and go. On your mark, get ready, set,
Medics, they are equipped with motorcycles, and they do that all year long with motorcycles. And so being here, just know that you have a really, really good team that are over watching out there. It's good to have Dr. Tanner here. Dr. Tanner is located at the finish line. He's an orthopedic surgeon. His services are free. If you have an issue and you need to see a physician, he is right there. He is here at every race. He's got an x-ray machine. He can take a peek and tell you if you've got an issue or not. And that is awesome to have Dr. Tanner with us. The West Virginia State Police were here in full force. We really appreciate them. They are about as patient and tolerant of an authority that I've ever seen. So we really do appreciate those guys. And, of course, the Shavers Fork Fire Department that have been helping us with traffic and so forth. It takes a lot. There is a lot of pieces to this event, and I just want to say thank you. I have time to all those folks that have put in the effort to make this event what it is. And so we all don't go to sleep. I'm going to get my buddy Big John here. And, John, I have the microphone this time, and no, there is not another microphone up there. And so Big John is our security guard. He's been with us for almost 30 years. He's about 6'6". When he was in fighting weight, he was 240. And you wore number 89, 85. He wore number 85 for the University of Pittsburgh. Yeah, I know. The good Lord put me with a guy from Pitt. That is. So we're going to sing to Big John. Are you ready to sing for us? Here we go. Come on, John. Step out here. Be with your family. It's my birthday, for goodness sakes. Sing along, everyone. All right. You guys don't disappoint me, all right? We haven't come this way for nothing. Number 85.
Reach. Touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you.
Come on, Mountaineers.
I've never seen so good. I didn't fly to believe there never would. Oh, no, no. Sweet Caroline, your time never seemed so good. Sweet Caroline, believe it never could. Sweet Caroline, time never seemed so good.
Thank you, DJ Judd. In all fairness, John, don't go away. In all fairness, I'll tell you the kind of guy I am. John has a national championship ring, and we don't. So John was a part of that team with Tony Dorsett. And, John, we're glad you're part of our team. Eat shit. We're all family. And I'm still stalling. There's one rider on the track, and he is determined to finish. And so we are following him to the finish line. They're telling me in the ear, so we're still a few minutes out. And as soon as we're clear, we will get started. Let's go ahead and introduce the top riders in the world.
All right, without further ado, we're going to introduce your top riders out of row number 1 and row number 2, representing both the XC1 and the XC2. Without further ado, rolling down the road first, the 969 out of North Carolina, aboard the FMF Factory Racing KTM, Johnny Gerard. Rolling down the road next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, aboard the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Red Bear Racing Kawasaki, Stu Baylor. Rolling down the road next, the young gun. He is your points leader out of the XC2 class, a rider out of Pennsylvania, the 922 on the Landers FMF Factory Racing KTM. Say hello to Grant Davis. Rolling down the line next, the number 3 out of Livingston, Tennessee, aboard the Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Jordan Ashburn. And representing row number 1, your 2023 defending champion aboard the number 1 Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, Craig DeLong. And now row number 2. Another rider representing the XC2 Pro class, the number 35, a rider out of Australia, aboard the FMF Landers Factory Racing KTM, Angus Reardon. And rolling down the line next, the 314, aboard the Babbitts Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, out of South Carolina, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Rolling down the line next, the 282 rider out of North Carolina, aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda. Say hello to Mike Wachowski. And last but certainly not least, the 347 out of Jefferson, Georgia, aboard the Active Air Max Motorsports FXR back Husqvarna, Evan Smith. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your top riders representing row number 1 and row number 2 here at the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC. As we pay tribute to the Blackwater 100 so many years ago, and now making our own history here on Snowshoe Mountain, our 18th year up here on the mountain. Been coming here so long, the Snowshoe GNCC can buy a lottery ticket, it can vote, all the things. And now row number 2 will make their way back up the road as we continue to listen to the radio chatter, waiting on the safe to race from the track crew. And it sounds like we are probably about, give or take, maybe 10 minutes out from setting it off. So still on a holding pattern right now. Buddy, points lead heading into, arguably the gnarliest race of the season here at Snowshoe, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
That's it? You're just feeling good? You no elaboration?
I'm feeling good.
That's scary. That means you're dialed right now, buddy. You got the young whippersnapper up here on row 1 with you, Grant Davis. Have you guys been trash talking the young man?
Yeah, a little bit. He says he's going to pull the whole shot and blow our doors off. I said, go for it, buddy. I'll follow you around till about till we pit, and then we'll see how the race plays out.
No time adjustment for him this weekend. He's up here with the big boys.
Yep, he's on the front row.
All right, Johnny, I'm going to let you get dialed back up, and we'll just put pressure right on you, man. Is what Johnny Gerard's saying, is it true?
I mean, it would be pretty cool to lead these guys for a lap, I'd say.
Hey, don't be humble now. You gotta come out swinging, man. Well, Grant, this has got to be a cool experience. It's cool for me because when I started, you were like knee high to a grasshopper. Youth ranks. Now you're right here, row number 1 for the pro race, buddy. Have you had time to process that, or is it like it's business as usual?
I don't know. It's pretty sick to be up here, to be honest with you. I'm pumped.
All right, Grant, I'm going to let you get back to it, get dialed, get your mind right. Stu Baylor, how are you feeling, buddy?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good. It's Snowshoe. How could you have a bad time?
You can't. No matter what happens at Snowshoe, you are going to come out swinging.
Absolutely. I'll definitely come out swinging.
So talk to us, man. You've had your fair share of injuries, some of those public, some of those maybe not so public, but one thing is for sure, if Mikey Waynes or Johnny Gallagher is like, hey, this man's down and out, it's not going to work for him, that's when you prove us wrong.
Yeah, I've always been good when my back's against the wall, and that's how I've been a lot of my career, and I ride good under pressure, and right now the pressure's on.
Love it. All right, Stu, let you get dialed. Hi, Racer TV. Jordan Ashburn, the number 3. You're on the inside. I like the inside line right here. How you feeling about it?
I just looked at the concrete over here and thought, hey, it might be better.
Oh, he's mixing it up. So watch the fans along this side. Don't high five the man. Let him do his job. Jordan, you have been kind of quietly back there this season. I go back to the round in Tennessee and just kind of the emotion post-race. We could tell, man, you really wanted that one. And I still believe there is a win under your belt here for this season coming. What better place than a rough, rocky terrain like Snowshoe?
Yeah, we got our first win here, so I'd like to do it again this weekend. Track's fun and a little drier this year, so it'll be a little more fast-paced, but looking forward to it and ready to be up there.
All right, brother. Jordan, let you get back to it, man. Have some fun today. Craig, he's down there. I already know what you had for lunch. Chicken and rice. Am I wrong?
Nope, right on the money.
Right on the money, baby. All right, Diesel, man, season didn't start how you wanted. Forget about it. You got things turned around, and you've been looking like the Craig DeLong that earned that number 1 plate last year, man. How you feeling coming into today?
I'm good. I'm excited and had a lot of preparation getting ready for this weekend, so looking to show it off.
Show it off, brother. All right, I'll let you get back to it. Craig, we'll sneak back here, talk to the Grizzly. Grizzly Grant, he's having some tasty and delicious oranges, maybe a cutie. How you feeling, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good. We're at Snowshoe, baby.
It's a party, man. You were out last night in the village. He was well-behaved, team. I'm just saying. He was actually very well-behaved. Man, what's the mindset coming into today? Row number 2, a little bit of a time adjustment advantage, man, but should be good.
Yeah, man, it's definitely the road to be on here for Snowshoe. I mean, not ideal. I don't want to be back here in the points necessarily, but it's good to be here on row 2. You can kind of just creep up on these guys and get in their time adjustment and not necessarily have to make the pass to get the win, but yeah, I'm feeling really good about Snowshoe, man. I've been so close to the win here so many times, and yeah, I'm feeling good, ready to go and give it hell for 3 hours. Let's go.
I love it. All right, Grizzly, get your mind right. Evan Smith, how you feeling, dude?
I feel awesome. I'm ready to go. It's nice weather. Got some rocks out there. It's not pouring down rain for once. It looks to be a good day.
So let's talk about that you bring up a good point. Every year at Snowshoe, it seems like it's muddy, it's rainy, it's nasty. Was there anything different as far as bike setup, mental preparation coming to what you guys know is going to be a Dust Bowl?
Not particularly. I mean, it's still gnarly out there. We got some more rock gardens than we usually do because it's drier, so traction will be a little more technical, and I don't know, we get to battle some more rocks than we usually get to.
Yeah, Evan, I'll let you get your mind right. Thank you, buddy. Mike Wachowski, you're focused, man. Goggles, I think you're the only guy right now that has the goggles on, so you're in the zone right now.
Yeah, I'm ready to go for sure. Definitely a bit of a delay here, but yeah, we're ready and excited to tackle the rocks today.
I hate these delays as much as you guys do. I promise. It's like seconds feel like minutes, but man, having some success of late, some of your best finishes in the XC1. What's clicking for Mike Wachowski this season?
Yeah, basically just going out and do the best I can, and just riding with some really good guys during the week, and just yeah, just surround yourself with good people this year has really helped, and the team's been awesome. So bike's been really good adjustment, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with some of the results I've put in this year on the 450, being a smaller guy, and yeah, today is going to be a test for me and a machine, and it's going to be good.
Love it, buddy. I'm going to let you get redialed. Have some fun. Angus Reardon, man, repping the XC2 here on row number 2, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, a bit of a lone range without Lamb here, but looking forward to it. Should be some fun.
A good point. Without your buddy out there racing with you here today, some more opportunity maybe?
Yeah, but always want to go for that top spot. So one less guy to battle, but there's up here with the XC1 boys. So.
All right, we talked to Grant. We got the trash talk going on. You got to be in some of that too, right?
I just sort of normally just keep to myself and go have some fun.
All right, brother. We'll let you get back to it. So there you go. That how close are we getting? Close? Hoof it back? No, not at all. No, Jeremy.
We still have time.
We still got time. Let's just keep rocking this thing.
And we do want to remind you that the Pickle Man is here, Bentonville Pickles. He is a beloved individual here at GNCC Racing. He's having some health issues, so he's not able to be out and be mobile as he normally would be. He is located on the Skidder Slope right across from Rocky Mountain in that area. So make sure you stop by and say hi to Corey and pick up those pickles for the ride home. Nothing like some pickles from Corey Benton. I'm about it. Back here with Josh Strang, man. Josh, how you feeling, bud?
Good. Starting with a kid and with my adopted kid on here. And so, yeah, it should be good.
So lining up next to T-Rex, man, we're going to see maybe some elbows flying, little bar banging.
I told him, watch out. No, it's cool to see. Maybe the first time an A-Rod has been on the at least this far up for sure. And it's hard, not where I want to be, but everyone in front of me is world class, So I just want to come here and have some fun, like everyone else has said. This place, you got to enjoy it to do well, and that's what I'm going to do.
Love it. All right, Josh, I'm going to let you get back to it. And we flip the script. Nick DeFeo, T-Rex, it's been a minute, buddy. Pulling off some top amateurs, obviously, having a stellar season out here. What's it mean for you to line up to a guy like Josh Strang on your left?
It's really cool. I looked up to him for a while, and I don't know, it's just cool being up here with all of them and just ready for it.
You feel any pressure? I mean, hey, a top amateur guy, he shrugs, man. Ice in the veins, right?
Yeah, it's just another race out here. I'm just trying to go to the front.
Yeah, get to the front, buddy. Have some fun. T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, Lyndon Snodgrass, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just excited to get this underway and head out here and see how we can go.
We're ready? All right. You guys get focused. Dante, good to see you, buddy. Have some fun out there. Repping. All right, I'm going to start making my way back up. Jeremy Holbert said, wrap it up, Mikey. So we are just about ready to roll now here on Snowshoe Mountain. Tim, fill in for me because I'm going to start heavy mouth breathing. I'm not a cardio guy.
Thank you, Mikey. Good job up there. We are about ready to go. Oftentimes we as humans take things for granted. When you have it every day, you really don't appreciate it. And we're getting ready to go into our summer break where we won't have Ricky Towery every other week. It's going to be several weeks before we get Ricky Towery back in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, at GNCC Racing, we start every event with the invocation and our national anthem. And we have the best of the best. Please put your heart in an attitude of prayer, and let's go to the Lord under the direction of Ricky Towery.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, let's do go to the Lord this afternoon, and let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, we do thank you once again for bringing us all together safely to such a beautiful place. You look across these mountains. It's such a wonderful day. Lord, watch over these riders this afternoon. Keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Thank you for the Snowshoe family, for caring enough about our sport to let us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family. And our military men and women, they are in all parts of the world that we don't even know about, but they keep us safe and they watch over us every day so we can be free to come out here and do this and do every other thing that we do in life. Watch them over them and keep them safe every day. Our leaders, Lord, at the high level and the local level, we ask that you would let them make the right decision for our country each and every day. And help us keep you number one in our hearts every day as a country. Let us do that every day. Lord, we're coming down to the final race before the summer break. We've raced in the mud, we've raced in the dust, but it don't matter what the conditions were. You let us have fun, and I thank you for that. I have a special prayer request. Racer production crew, they don't get no break. They just keep on going. Be with them this summer, watch over them, keep them safe. And then as we head down the road home later today, take us all home safely, so one day we will get back together and we'll have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
He's the best, isn't he? And now, let's all rise, remove your hats, and join singing as we honor America. Just about ready to set it off now here, thank you, at the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC as we wait and listen to our radio chatter, waiting on that okay, and then all attention. I'm gonna move like right in there. Your money, your money. All attention will go to Ricky Towery here in turn number 1 as we wait on that official okay from the track crew. Johnny Gerard coming into it with a little bit of momentum. The Young Guns. Grant Baylor, row number 1. Angus Reardon, row number 2. We got to hear a little bonus interview. We got Nick DeFeo, T-Rex, your top amateur, up there in row number 3. Some heavy hitters in the mix with the wily veterans that are in the XC1. Some might say arguably the best rock riders. I would say undoubtedly the best in the country. Gonna put it on display out here in mere moments. Delayed start, that's okay. We're still gonna send it. There is the official thumbs up from Tim Cotter. Light them up, let's go racing! Yeah, buddy. As the maestro, Ricky Towery, now walks forward toward row number 1. And Ricky will look to the side. He lets the race fans know, hey, I'm going to tuck in right there and hang out with you guys
for some race calls. Now, normally we do some prompt and circumstance. We give you, that's pretty good, but Ricky said, I can't hear you. Just give me one. So when we go 10 seconds, y'all gotta get loud. On top of the mountain, get so loud they can hear you at the bottom. And there we go, blue flag waves, and we are just about ready to roll here on Snowshoe Mountain in 10 seconds for row number 1. Bang, and we're off. Stu Baylor right up the inside, join alongside Jordan Ashburn early in this one, row number 2. Angus Reardon, Mike Wachowski, Grant Baylor leading it, and Evan Smith. Row number 3, Josh String, Lyndon Snodgrass, T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, and it's DeFeo out in front. Dante Oliveira back out here with us at the GNCC. Row 4, Cody Barnes, Josh Toad, Ricky Russell, Jason Tino, and Ryder Lafferty. Row number 5, Rui Barbosa and Jonathan Johnson. Row number 6, make some noise for Bad Thad Duval. Row number 7, Toby Cleveland, Brody Johnson, Collier Martinez, and Henry Szymanski. Here goes the solo man right there out of the XC2. Make some noise, the 707, Jason Liscomb. Row number 9 now, Zachary Davidson, FMF XC3, Dustin Simpson, Dakota DeVore, Sayar Karatura, and Jack Walker. Row number 10, Tyler Shields, James Cherin III, Owen Barnes, and Joe Shriver. Row number 12, Open A, Samuel Evans, Cole Whitmer, and Hunter Smith. 034. That was Dylan De La Cruz, Open A. 715, Mac Reimer rolling right there, and here we go. That is the number 100, that's Trevor Goetz. Now let's see, 249, that's Gavin Simon, 250A, leading it right there, and here we go, 220. Grabbing a Holstein early lead there. 222 out in front. That is 250A. Parker Crisp in there. Tucker Kenry, Keaton Noltkamper, Rayleigh Messer, Braden Hashman, and Kiefer Galliano. Row number 20, 158. David Johnson, Landon Hamilton, Michael Meyer, Brady Weimer. Whoa, good save right there. Row number 21, Chase Landers, Jigs Fustini, and Olin Daniels. Olin Daniels, good ride right there. 4-stroke A-Lights, Ty Ely, Cole Thorne, Ryan Amancio, Sam Hall, Joshua Connor, Isaiah Brown, Peyton Feather. Row number 23, Van Adams, Robert Wise, Rivers Morris, and Lane Smith. Ooh, real sideways right there. Good save. That was Mario Tonchev, Junior A 25 plus. Row 25, Braden Moore, Matthew Dreher, Jason Key, and Joshua Chalk. Row 26, make some noise for that man right there. That's Tyler Braniff, Junior A 25 plus. Row number 28, Vet A 30 plus, Robbie Norwood, Daniel Sims, and Gregory Funk. Who's got the funk? Gregory's got the funk. Row 29, Scott Hopper, Danny Hall, Tom Truax. Row number 30, Vet A 30 plus, Craig Hormel and Justin Bullers. Senior A 40 plus, Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, and Andy Shea. Hey. Row 32, Vinny Tomic, Nathan Allering, Jesse Arsnault, and Darren Damos. Senior A 40 plus, Bo Hamlet, Alan Peters. 959, that's Charlie Torresani grabbing that early lead. Open B now, Chris Gates, Nathaniel Gibbs, Caleb Hagan, Colton Prainer, Hayden Jones. Oh, more Open B, Keegan Faulkner, Cameron McCoy, Michael Horwath, and Taylor Grossman. And Dylan Fleming. About missed you, buddy. I got you. 410 out in front right there. And let's see, that's going to be the 910 of Logan Pellegrini leading that group of 250B riders. 638 on the machine, 401 on the helmet. That's Billy Durham, 250B. Here we go, row 41, Ty Atkinson, Gunnar Ferdig, Lennox Riley, Colt Noltkamper, Zachary Brazow, and Noah Martz. Row 43 now, Jarman Lilly, Jordan Forrest, and Mason Sakanikis. Row 44, 150B, Jaden Schlegel, Nico Pursuti, Landon Phillips, Gavin Hampton, Ryder Segedy, and James Simpson. Four-stroke B lights, Meatball, Jacob McPherson, Keenan Rupp, Wiley Tucker, and Bryce Woodrum. Row 46, four-stroke B lights, TJ Brown, Jacob Mitchell, and Zach Goetz. Row 47, Landon Workman, Samuel Tessner, and Andrew Meyer. 994, Andrew Meyer on cue with the early lead. Row 48, Adam Machinsky, Devin Hall, Zach Cummins, and Douglas Randolph. Hey, Ronnie Vance, get it. Junior B, 25 plus. Here comes row number 50, Mitchell Brady and Kyle Walsh. Yeah, buddy. Row 51, Vet B, 30 plus. Michael Jarosco, Pete Petrunti, Corey Armstrong, and Richard Moore. Armstrong, a little fist in the air. I like it. Row 52, Cody Johnson, John King, and William Shoemaker. Woo, good save, buddy. Coming at you, that's a number 78 on the machine. It's going to be the 778 on the helmet. That's Cruz Johnson grabbing that early lead. Senior B, 40 plus, Larry Hopper, Fernando Pino. And here we go, last row off. And track sweep just behind him, the 420 of Adam Nastic. Grabbing that early lead right there, and there goes track sweep, and that is going to wrap things up for the moment. Snowshoe GNCC, nothing quite like it. We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll get in a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with more from the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yeah, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the one, the only, the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC. We're here in Pocahontas County for round number 9 of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. My name is Jackson Burrow, and I'm alongside my good friend Zach Herron to bring you today's live coverage. At this time, we will go ahead and turn things over to Zach to show you how we got things started.
Yeah, thanks, Jackson. It's been an action-packed day all weekend long. We'll take a look at the Specialized start recap. Up the inside, we saw Adam McGill yesterday try to grab the whole shot. Jordan Ashburn tried to do the same thing, but Stu Baylor had something to say about it, and it looks like Stu was going to get the best of him as they capped over the hill. Grant Baylor, however, going way from the outside, cut across, and was able to grab the whole shot out of that second row. Nick DeFeo, one of our top amateurs, getting in the mix with some of the XC1 boys, as well as our XC2. I believe Jason Tino's up in that mix as well. Obviously a little different starting situation here this weekend. Got a rolling live engine start. We shut down the street of Snowshoe Mountain. You can see the crowd on hand. Thad Duval on a lone row there for the XC2 Fast. He's going to try to chase them down. And Jackson, we heard a lot of those riders talking about the advantage to being in the second and third rows. They get a little bit of the time advantage, but they also get to follow some of your leaders. As we take a look on screen down at Howard's Hole, not near as chaotic as we saw yesterday, but still extremely challenging. And we see the 514, the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki of Stu Baylor leading the way. Looked like that was Jordan Ashburn behind him. Grant Davis following him, and then Johnny Gerard on that 969. Having to take the feet off and pedal his way through. Jackson, I was able to crutch my way down there as we see Craig DeLong and Grant Baylor making their way through. This is a totally different scenario than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, now we're actually getting to see what it looks like on the ground. All we could see yesterday was the fans down there at Howard's Hole. Now we get a glimpse at what the riders are having to go through. You mentioned Grant Davis up there on that first row there from the XC2 class. We've already saw the XC2 take an overall win. Today, Grant Davis is in a great spot.
Yeah, absolutely. He does not, however, have the time correction that he's accustomed to. Mikey Wayne's got to talk to him before we went live on Racer TV. He said, hey, yeah, it's cool to be lined up here with the big guys. I'm ready to see if I can do it lined up against them. So that was a little flashback. Now we're going to flash forward to the Yamaha Racing live drone. It is still Stu Baylor out front leading the way. You just saw him enter the woods line. There is the Coastal Racing gas of Jordan Ashburn. And then it looks like
Gerard got around Davis.
Yep, Gerard did make that pass. And it was funny, a little bit of, I don't want to say smack talk, but a little joking back and forth between Grant Davis and Johnny Gerard. Davis saying he wanted to try to lead these guys around, but Gerard says, hey, son, you're going to have to take some notes here. Let me show you how it's done as he makes the pass. Let's break down this snowshoe course, 13.1 miles, so a rather long course. The Yamaha Racing track map, Jackson, it's one of the driest snowshoes that we've seen, completely different than what we saw last year. You can even see there through Howard's Hole, I wouldn't even call that mud. That was just a little bit of wet soil.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing some very, very dry sections here. It sounds like the woods have a little bit of moisture in it, so that's a good thing for these riders. The mountain going to be split up on two sides. One side of it, a black diamond for skiing and snowboarding, so that is going to be some rough territory for these riders.
Absolutely. A lot of rocks, and then also you've got some high-speed open sections as well, so tire choice going to be absolutely crucial. Heard people talking about it all weekend long. What are you going to run? A lot of guys out there pedaling the track, trying to figure out what's going to be the best combination for some of the softer and rockier conditions in the woods like you're seeing right there as compared to those high-speed, wide-open fire roads that they'll be going down as well. That was Cody Barnes that just went by, and there goes Josh Toth as well. We're here at the 5-mile mark. Looks like that was Rui Barbosa also on that Phoenix Racing Honda. And then I believe that is Thad Duval chasing him down. So we saw Thad starting on his own row, and he has caught up. Looks like that was Jason Tino that he had made the pass around. couldn't quite tell the number on that beta. And it looks like that's Toby Cleveland coming by. And you can already see a lot of different lines opening up, not just at Howard's Hole, but all across this snowshoe course. We heard it on the podium. We've heard it from the youth, the WXC. A lot of different options out here, and they can kind of make or break your entire race.
Yeah, exactly. And a fast track here today for us as well. That's one of the things that we're hearing is a super, super fast track. Taking a look now at the Yamaha Racing race format. Going to be a long track here today, 13.1 miles, and of course a 3-hour event. XC1 Open Pro Class, that is 125cc to an Open Class. XC2, that is going to be 122cc's to 250cc's. FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am is up to 125cc's only.
Absolutely, yeah, that FMF XC3, one of my favorite sounding and smelling classes that we have out here. And looks like that might have been one of them, Dakota DeVore. Sawyer Karatura now chasing behind him. I know Dirt Bike Jesus is back with us, Dustin Simpson, and all of these riders. Seems like this is kind of a love-hate relationship for some of these riders. They look forward to it. There goes Jack Walker. They circle it on their calendar because it is kind of like a party and a race breaks out. This guy's done a little bit of both. He's had a great time all weekend long. He's having a great time out front right now.
Stu Baylor still leading the way. Look at how many rocks out on the course. Now we look back. Where's our second place, Stu? Looking like he's beginning to develop a gap.
And hard to tell from that shot, as it does look like Johnny Gerard is chasing down Jordan Ashburn. He wants to try to find a way around. Thought he was going to try to make a move right there. Here comes Grant Davis trying to keep those lead guys in shot. And it's Craig DeLong right behind Davis. So you've kind of got about a 5 or 6 rider breakaway. Didn't look like Stu Baylor was really pushing the pace, but like you said, Jackson, has definitely opened up about a second or two as now we see Grant Baylor make his way through.
Now taking a look.
I believe that's going to be Evan Smith following in behind Grant Baylor. And like we said, a little bit different of a starting platform. This is what I'm talking about here, folks. You saw some of the wetter conditions. Now this is the flip-flop side of that. We take a look from the FMF PowerPoint mile number 11, and they drop down that hill, carrying a lot of speed. Yeah, so technically we're actually looking at mile 7 across from the FMF PowerPoint at mile 11. So it gives you guys a little bit of an idea as to the difference in the conditions that they're having. Hard on those brakes coming down the hill, and you saw in that last camera shot, big boulders. Obviously, look at the bottom of your screen right there. Rocks absolutely everywhere. And we'll have some firsthand knowledge coming in the booth with us here shortly to tell us exactly how difficult it is maneuvering around this terrain.
Yeah, you can only imagine. You can see on screen, if it looks this bad on screen, you can only imagine what it looks like in person. The camera not doing justice to just how rough this track is.
Absolutely, as we see two of the Phoenix Racing Honda boys, Cody Barnes and Rui Barbosa, along with Thad Duvall, going to work. Yeah, I believe one of the fans earlier said it best. He told me, I could barely walk around this. I can't imagine how these guys are riding through it. As I believe that was Tino that just came through here at the mile 6 mark. Jonathan Johnson on the 981. Had to make sure. I believe we've got multiple Johnsons out there. And then Toby Cleveland, glad to see him back racing as well. And taking a look now.
All right, Zach, I'm going to go ahead and head down. I'm going to go try to take a look at the track here, give you some insight to what it looks like from the ground. We're going to head to some of the ski slopes.
All right, and look at that. One of our sweep riders chasing after them. And so now we are going to welcome in. We talked about having some firsthand knowledge as far as what it takes to be successful out here at the Snowshoe GNCC. We want to welcome to the booth Ben Kelly along with Liam Draper. Obviously, guys, we'd like to have both of you out on course and be chatting about you, but we're excited to have you up here in the studio.
Yeah, it's a bummer to stand here in the announcers booth, but it's definitely a different perspective on how these go.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liam, unfortunately, we're both a little banged up, both walking around on crutches. But nonetheless, take us through your experience here at Snowshoe and what makes this course one of the ones that you guys circle on the calendar all year long. Looking forward to it or just hoping that you can get through it?
Yeah, I love this race a lot. I got my first ever XC2 podium here, and it's a unique, special event that everyone plans for. And takes a lot of time to test and prepare for it, so I think it's definitely a unique race, and it's definitely a cool facility.
And Ben, you could talk about this as well, being one of those races that this is the final race headed into the summer break. Momentum, a huge thing. It can work for you or it can work against you. How important is it to try to make a statement here at this race before you head into summer break?
Yeah, you definitely want to have a good race going into summer break. It's about 2.5 month break there, which is a long time, almost as long as the off season. But yeah, this is a very technical track, so you don't want to do anything crazy and you know, cause an injury or just a bad race going into the season. But yeah, I think a lot of guys come into this one motivated, and the atmosphere is definitely motivating with the crowd and just the facility here. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see some good racing, especially with how dry this course is this weekend.
Yeah, kind of a little different than what we've seen. Obviously, last year was my first year being out here at Snowshoe, and it was far from dusty conditions. But as far as the bike setup goes, I heard you guys right before the start, you're talking about who's got what tire on, suspension going to be crucial. How important is it and how difficult is it to set up a bike in something like this where maybe a lot of these riders aren't as accustomed to seeing Snowshoe this dry?
Yeah, I checked out, walking through the pits, trying to check out the different teams and see what tires they have on their bike. And then I was asking Liam what Ricky was running because I didn't get to check out the Yamaha rig. But yeah, a few different ones out there. You know, we got a handful of guys on the EN91. These are Dunlop tires, the EN91 rear, which is kind of a 6 days Enduro spec tire with a really tall sidewall, which helps absorb the rocks a lot, gives you a little more cushion. Someone like Stu was on the Dunlop MX53, more of like a hard pack tire, but with how dry it is and those sections out on the ski slope, that's going to work really good. A few other guys, Grant Baylor was on a Trials tire, Evan Smith I think was on a Gummy Dunlop AT81. So yeah, handful of different tires out there. We'll have to see how the race unfolds and see which ones last the longest, and if some guys opt to do a tire change during the pit.
Now that would be exciting to see for sure. And now I'm assuming you guys are planning that on. Liam, I'll ask you, as far as if you were looking to do a tire change, do you guys have the lap kind of picked out, or is it you wait till you see something on the pit board?
Yeah, normally it would be done at a pit stop, just because you're going to get fuel at the same time, so you might as well stop and change it. But I've never really contemplated it, just because in previous years the people that do run the Gummy and do change it have led up until the pit stop, but it's never something that's actually won a race. So it's a lot of risk for reward, but I mean, if it worked out, yeah, great. But I mean, I noticed Stu has a 53 on today, and last year he ran a Gummy for the start of the race and did the wheel swap, and I think you won last year, didn't you? Yeah, so Ben won last year. So I think running a non-Gummy is the best option.
And as far as going back and forth between the slower, kind of tighter, rockier conditions versus some of those high-speed sections, the other thing that we haven't touched is we take a look at the past winners. I mean, what better guy to talk about the action than the guy who won the race last year? But one thing you didn't have to deal with last year was the dust. We've talked to you guys. I feel like it's all we talk about in the muddy conditions. Tear-offs, roll-offs, optics, vision, this, that, and the other thing. But you guys can pull all you want in the dust. It's not going anywhere. We had somebody down there with a radar gun. I was told in the AM race, 56 miles an hour we clocked some of these riders in going high speed. One of the 65 riders I talked to said he was going 160 miles an hour. I think he was exaggerating a little bit, but how do you guys maneuver through the dust, especially when you're going that fast? Is it just fingers crossed and hope for the best?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I've never seen a dry snowshoe. I don't think Ben has probably either. This dry. We just seen a shot of the power line, and it's a dust bowl, so it'll definitely be interesting to how the guys get through it.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. Luckily, it's kind of super windy up here right now, which will play into their favor and hopefully blow some of that dust off because, yeah, like you said, those sections on the open ski slope are super fast, and when you can't see with all these loose rocks scattered around, it can be really sketchy. And those ski slopes are a section where you can make up a lot of time with, you know, not quite as much effort as it would take to try to make up time in a technical woods trail section like we see here. So we'll have to see.
And we're going to take a look now at how the points are breaking down here in the XC1 in the overall championship. You can see really cool graphic that we've got made here as far as the progression of the year. Find your favorite rider on the side, follow his color. Obviously, Johnny Gerard having an extremely stellar 2024, but Stu Baylor, all of a sudden you see that rapid incline. Had that one bad race at round 7 and then responded back at round 8. And as you can see, consistency is key there for Johnny Gerard. He got out front, grabbed that points lead earlier, and has held on to it all of 2024. But you can see Craig DeLong obviously not having the results that he was looking for earlier in the year, starting to raise that line up and getting back into the Craig DeLong of old that went out and earned that #1 plate last year. So just goes to show this is round 8. Like we said, we're getting ready, or round 9, I'm sorry, getting ready to go into the summer break. And anything can happen here as now we take a look at the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com points breakdown. Johnny Gerard got a decent points lead, 207 versus 173. Stu Baylor sitting back there in second. And then Grant Davis out of the XC2 class. He's the points leader, but he's up inside that top 5 overall. Liam, is an XC2 rider yourself. That's a pretty impressive performance there from the young gun.
Yeah, definitely. I take my hat off to Grant. He's figured it out this year, and he's got his head switched on. And yeah, I tried to run him down 2 weeks ago, but it didn't work out for me. me. But yeah, no, kudos to Grant. He's worked hard this year, and I know working with Caleb is working out for him, and credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Been able to do a lot. And I did see hanging back there still in the 9th place spot. You were back there, man. Just for the fans at home, we didn't get to catch up with you after your last crash, but it did look like you had an operation. Take us through exactly what happened and how you're feeling, what your recovery is looking like.
Yeah, I had a crash at Mason-Dixon, a previous injury in my knee. I did in 21. I compression fractured my tibial plateau, which is basically smashed the knee joint together, and it takes 6 weeks to heal, and I have a bunch of hardware in there that I got removed on Thursday just to help things out and speed the process up. So the plan is to come back after summer, and I'll be back after summer in XC1.
Oh, okay. That's what I like to hear. Now, talking about recovery and even getting back on a motorcycle, BK, did I see you riding around, man? Are we back on a bike?
Yeah, just got back on the bike about 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, rode about 6 times, and, you know, I've kind of been released to start riding, but the surgeon says to take it easy. And, I mean, I laughed at that a little because I'm not sure you can ride a dirt bike casually. But, yeah, working back into it, and the game plan is definitely to be back for September, and, you know, that's 2.5 months away. So still have a lot of time to get back up to speed, and, yeah, hopefully I can jump right in and battle at the front with these guys.
Well, like we said, guys, obviously we'd love to be calling you out there on track, but we're excited to have the first-hand knowledge in here. Our man Johnny G, Eagle Eye, he's not with us today, but Ben, you've been studying, man. I've been impressed. You've been picking up helmets and goggles and being able to point out who's who. And Liam, obviously very glad to hear that you'll be back before the end of the season as we wait on our leaders here at mile number 10. We talked about the racing, guys. What do you think about Snowshoe, just the atmosphere as a rider? Obviously, you guys, you come into a race weekend, you've got your meals planned out, you've kind of got everything like you like to do it. You got your race prep. At a place like Snowshoe, does that change at all? Obviously, we've got evening festivities. We'll get more into that later as well. We've got all kinds of parties, and it just seems like a whole different crowd comes to Snowshoe. What is it like for being one of the top racers?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You know, you come here, you got your normal routine. You know, I have a camper, and you eat in the camper, you hang out under the truck and whatnot. But here you got the village, and you want to go eat out for dinner and hang out in the village, and then they have the DJ going, and you want to hang out and watch the excitement go on in there. But it's, you know, you're here to do a job, and got to go to bed early and get your sleep, but it's tough here. It's definitely a unique race, and it's cool on the schedule for sure. It's good to have these places.
So, I mean, since you guys aren't racing, do we let loose a little bit? Do we have fun? We were hanging out with DJ Judd a little later than normal?
Yeah, I hung out last night and watched the entertainment.
As
there
now,
Stu.
Yep. Stu Baylor out front, still taking a little look over the shoulder, and seeing Stu sitting down a lot right now. Really, you guys tell me, it doesn't look like he's pushing that pace too much. Seems like he's comfortable running the speed that he is, and it does look like Gerard has kind of settled in. Oh, looked like he had a little issue coming out of that corner, but it looks like those top 3 have broken down. Jordan Ashburn there in that 2nd place spot.
Yeah, it looked like Johnny was just, you know, shifting the bike and trying to weight those pegs to get some traction as we have Grant Davis coming through here in 4th. But yeah, you know, Stu, we saw Stu looking back there, so he's out front. He's obviously managing this race, and it's a long one as we have Craig DeLong coming by now in 5th. But yeah, it looked like Johnny G had the urgency. He must know that Stu's out there pulling a little bit of gap, so he's trying to get up there to 2nd.
There goes the trials tire. Grant Baylor.
Looks like it's hooking up right now. And for those at home, can you kind of roughly explain the difference between a trials tire as compared to some of the other tires that we're seeing out there?
It's just a super soft compound tire. I think the trial, I know Grant ran the trials tire last year because I was on his road, but it will last. I think it's super good in these conditions, but I don't think it's as good on the other side of the mountain in the ski slopes where it's a little faster.
Here comes Ricky. This will be good to watch because I think he was starting on row 4.
Yeah, he's on row 4.
Coming from quite a ways back, and that's a guy who's won this race in the past. As we see 2nd, 3rd place are starting to catch up.
Maybe Johnny's going to pass him right here.
Taking a little split line option here at the FMF PowerPoint. Ashburn was able to close the door. Once again, seeing Gerard look like maybe trying to reach up, pull a tear off or something. And you can see the fans absolutely coming out in droves. Look, even more of them headed out. Everybody wanting to pick their favorite spot to watch the 3-hour-long battle that we've got on hand as the Yamaha Live Racing Drone follows your leader, Stu Baylor. There goes Jordan Ashburn hanging tough in the 2nd place spot. And Ben, you mentioned it earlier, not only are there big boulders and the rocks in the river, but these things are loose. They're moving around each and every lap. You guys are constantly having to adapt.
As Stu Baylor jumps onto the little infrastructure there where they're holding the dirt back. Nice little smooth line they got there.
I feel like those two have caught up to Stu.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're a little closer than they were before, as now they head into the pits once again, back on road as to the off-road side of things. They make their way through, and that's another interesting point. Obviously, you guys running various different kinds of knobbies out here, but traction not optimal once you get on the blacktop.
Definitely not, especially if you have a gummy setup, but I think these three guys here have a regular compound tire on. So, yeah, those open ski slopes, it'll work to their favor out there, and they'll be able to be a little more aggressive than someone like Grant Baylor or Evan Smith who have the gummy tires.
Taking a look now, you saw some different style and different technique as the riders making their way through. Johnny Gerard up on the pegs, really kind of maneuvering that KTM around. Ashburn sitting down. A lot of people coming in this round said this could be an opportunity for Ashburn to strike. We saw he was oh so close to grabbing that win out in Tennessee, but one of those riders that's a little more known for riding the extreme hard enduros, likes the rocky type stuff. Ricky Russell, another name that a lot of people were talking about coming into this race. Is this one of those ones where if you're maybe a Florida rider or a Carolina rider that doesn't get out in these super rocky conditions a lot, you may not quite have the confidence as somebody that's doing this on a regular basis?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, Ricky, it suits him. He's from Washington, and he likes this fast stuff here. And technical stuff he does well, but, yeah, the guys that come from Florida, I'm sure, struggle a little more to figure it out than the others. There's Johnny doing a wheelie down the road.
So whatever he's doing, he's feeling good while he's doing it for sure. We saw him do a wheelie leading a race one time. I think he stalled it in the corner after, but was able to hang on to the lead. Grant Davis also not far of it up, but just out of eyesight. He's taking a little look back over his shoulder. We believe he'll be seeing the number one of Craig DeLong, and Craig was still back there. As we pop back onto the drone, there he is, the number one of Craig DeLong. Also, though, it looks like out of eye shot. Was it cool with the glove up, a little bit of pump up, yeah.
Stretching out, a little bit of tightness.
I think this side of the mountain will be interesting to see how dusty it is now and how much these guys spread out. Where's Stu just right here, where they're dropping over.
Seems like a lot of riders, maybe even more so than usual, taking glances back over the shoulder. Is it just because that smooth terrain, you're able to do that without having to worry about the bike jarring out from under you?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to figure out who's around you and who's following you. And I mean, all of us do it, so it's good to know who's around you.
So taking a look now, really getting to open those machines up. This must be where that 65 rider was talking about, going absolutely as fast as they can. And we heard
a good section here.
Yeah,
ripping up the ski slopes, and they have all those water bars out there. So, you know, you'll be shifting the gears as fast as your bike can go and just launching up those water bars. So it's a nice little break from the relentless rocks, and yeah, also just a lot of fun. I think some people maybe are scared of them because of how fast you have to go if you want to win, but yeah, for some it could be a break and just a good time to open the bike up.
Yeah, probably a nice little, bike's wide open, but you guys taking a little bit of a breather, not having to worry too much. It was funny, Wyatt Wilkin, who got on the podium yesterday in the ATV class, said he thought he was going fast, and then all of a sudden Walker Fowler blew his hair forward when he came by. He was like, man, I thought I was going quick, or as quick as I was comfortable going, and then Walker absolutely was hauling the mail. And so, like you said, some of these riders may be a little less comfortable with topping out the speed on these machines, but nonetheless, your top three all looking relatively close as now they make their way through the finish line scoring. So here in the next minute or two, we'll be able to give you an idea as to what the adjusted time is looking like and give you an example of some of the splits between these riders. As it kind of looked like Stu opened it back up there in that section. Not sure what happened with Ashburn.
Yeah, it could be the dust in these open sections. Like we said, it's very high speed, and with the dust and all those loose rocks, you know, you don't want to take a chance to go down, and maybe they've realized that probably not going to make a pass in this section, so just kind of, you know, hang back just a touch to be out of the dust, and then kind of learn the track and find a spot where you feel like you can get back on the rear wheel of the guy in front of you and make a pass.
Now, you guys have talked about the potential for tire swaps. Have you heard any rumblings about maybe air filter swaps with the dustier conditions, or is it not quite that extreme out here?
I don't think it's that extreme. I think this side of the mountain's only going to be the dusty side right here on the ski slopes where they're at, but yeah, I don't think a air filter swap would be necessary.
Yeah, for the most part, I think they're getting lucky. You know, obviously some dust in the open sections, but once you get in those trees, you know, in the shade, parts of the track that I looked at looked really good, ideal conditions. So they're going to be going fast, pretty fast through the woods, a lot faster than normal. Some people were even saying they feel like it's rockier this year, but it could just be the fact that there's no standing water or mud covering up the rocks.
And it sounds like we were actually able to catch up with your leader. All of these riders, like I said, kind of love-hate relationships with the Snowshoes course and with the event itself. Let's catch up with Stu Baylor and see exactly what he thinks about the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC.
It's a good time. Like, I don't think you can go to Snowshoe or a venue like Snowshoe and have a bad time. So for me, the racing's cool, but the fans and the atmosphere is just next level. The Snowshoe start's definitely unique. The old Blackwater style, and me personally, I've ripped a lot of hole shots. I've also ended up on my head 3 times on that start. So usually what's weird is the years that I crash, I normally have better rides. Good start years there, you get up front and you make a mistake and the row behind you is all of a sudden on you. And yeah, it's just it's really crazy. The 10-second gaps just stacking one on another. Like, line 3 is a huge advantage at a race like that. Man, when the crowd lights up at Snowshoe, they're so tight in such a narrow area, you can literally feel the vibrations in the air. As wild as it sounds, when the crowd lights up, when they say, "Here comes your favorite redneck, Stu Baylor, coming down the starting line," like it genuinely sends chills down your spine to hear everybody, the whole crowd light up. So super cool atmosphere, super cool people. Man, that place is just one of those ones, like win, lose, or draw, I always have a good time at that event.
And having a good time, he was hanging out with everybody. And just like Mikey said, though, when the helmet goes on, he's going to come out swinging.
Definitely, and I think he's expected here shortly into Howard's Hole, which looks like there's a whole lot less people than there were yesterday.
Now, what do you guys think? We've heard kind of mixed emotions there from the ATVs. Obviously, it's a great time. You've got probably over 1,000 people out there, but sometimes they kind of cross the line. They start grabbing tear-offs. They start grabbing roll-off strings. They start pointing people in the wrong direction. This looks like it's mainly die-hard fans that want to enjoy it, and then also you got a lot of team members as well. As 2 guys that have gone through it on Sunday, would you rather it be like this, or would you rather it be like it is on ATV Day? I
would prefer it to be like it is today, but I think what it is yesterday makes Snowshoe what it is. You know, everyone knows how it's all. The quad guys they know what they're getting when they go down in there, and I think it's a special event. So I think it's part of it. You know, get used to it, and people have a lot of fun down there. It gets wild down there. I didn't get to make it down there obviously this year, but in years past I've gone down there on a Saturday, and you definitely see some sights.
No excuses, man. I crutched down there yesterday. Come on. Probably a little smarter than me, nonetheless. Ben, what do you think? You want some mud fleas helping you out on the Saturday type conditions, or do you like it the way it is?
I mean, I'd take a few more fans down there. It seems, I don't know, it'd be just another thing to, I don't know, have to contend with out there on the track. Obviously don't want them, you know, throwing water or beer or anything on you, obviously. But, you know, yeah, they get a little rowdy out there. They're out there in the heat all day long. But, yeah, for the quad guys, you know, they go down there and they don't really have to look at a line because there's only one open for them. It's like part in the sea, which is crazy. But to see the support is awesome. And then a day like today, you can see, you know, the bike guys can pick a few different lines instead of just going right through the mud.
And now, do you guys know, are you usually kind of following similar lines to what the quad's taking, or is it kind of totally different with the 2-wheel side of things, or do you even know?
I mean, luckily for us, you know, we could fit into like some narrower sections. You know, just having 2 wheels, we can get up on the edges of things, cross things quite a bit easier. But for the most part, Howard's Hole, you know, we've gone through it so many years. It kind of has a good hard bottom with all the rocks and stuff. And, you know, you pick your way here and there, but a lot of time right through the middle ends up being the fastest and most safest.
Looks like they're the KTM guys down here are building a new line. Apparently they coming in are not coming down off the hill this year. They're coming straight at it, Howard's Hole. So
yeah, I was told there was a fresh cut section added, and you know, maybe that's the luxury of it being a little bit drier. They can use more of the woods, which is really cool, and I'm sure those guys are going to like that. I heard it was super rocky and rooty. But yeah, we'll see. That's actually my mechanic B-Dog down there. We'll see if these guys actually take it. You know, sometimes you just stick to what you know what will work for yourself. And once you come into things at speed, sometimes the line you had picked out will just be totally obsolete.
Now, obviously, yesterday it was fans, friends, fanatics going out there pointing lines. And like you said, these guys kind of don't have any choice when there's 400 people all pointing to one line. That's the line you're going to go to. But do you guys take line advice from fans when there are other team members around? If you got some dude with his shirt off with, you know, his hat swinging and he's pointing at one line and then one of your team members is pointing at another, you're probably going to your team's line, correct?
thoughts are you normally either head towards the guys with the headset radios and the pit shirts on. You know, they're normally standing around the best line or close to it. Most of these rednecks would love to see you get stuck, but they'll get right in and help you pull yourself back out. But yeah, normally aim towards the guys in the pit shirts and the headset radios. They're normally standing around the best option.
All right, so you heard it, guys. Keep the shirt on, get a collared shirt, and just a radio headset, and that's all you need.
Right.
But no, I think you're 100% right. Here we go. Leader on screen.
Looks like Stu did take that line.
And still seeing a little bit of moisture here, but certainly not anything close to what we saw last year.
See some aggression out of him there. And Johnny G still right on the rear wheel.
Yep, wheel to wheel with Ashburn and Girard. As camera panning back, we're going to try to pick back up. There is, looks like Ashburn and Girard taking two very different lines.
Looks like Johnny's working hard to try and get around Jordan. Doesn't want to see Stu get away.
As now here comes the number one, Craig DeLong. Also looks like that was a different line. So 3 to 4 different line options that we've seen. As now we're watching the Grizzly muscle his way through on that Babaton line Monster Energy Kawasaki. Here comes Evan Smith.
It does look like there is a good bit of moisture down there, surprisingly.
You always have the natural springs on the Snowshoe Mountain. So yeah, like I said, a lot of the sections in the woods here are looking to be really good.
Yeah, I heard they turned the snowmakers on the roads coming back out the mountain last night.
Yeah, Snowshoe doing everything they can to try to keep things as nice as possible. And I believe it's actually been 2 days where they've run the snow blowers, obviously shooting out a pretty heavy mist with us to try to keep the dust down. And then we've also been fortunate today, a lot of cloud cover. We had bright sunshine all day yesterday, and things really got hot, dried, and hard packed. But today, we've had a decent amount of cloud cover. I felt a couple of raindrops, but nothing to really make a difference. But nonetheless, keeping what's left of the moisture in this soil.
Yeah, definitely. I think the wind this morning would help if it stays windy out there.
So we have Dante coming through here, the West Coast visitor. I'm sure this is a little bit out of his element, but looking good, standing up, feet on the pegs.
And that's what I was just about to say. Completely different than what we saw with Stu Baylor. He had the legs out, paddling his way through. Dante absolutely locked in on the side of that FMF Red Bull KTM, and honestly, it looked like he got through it pretty clean.
Yeah, he looked fast, was carrying the momentum, and, you know, that's more of a picture-perfect technique, but Stu's making it work as he's out front.
So we saw Lyndon Snodgrass, and it looked like that was Josh Toth taking an alternate line over towards the left-hand side of your screen, and then that was actually T-Rex Nick DeFeo, who was up in, I believe, the top 3 or 4 rows off the start. He was actually talking about lining up next to this guy. Josh Drang said he's looked up to him for years, and just to be able to line up next to him is so cool. Did you guys have a rider at one point where you lined up next to him, or you're out there racing him, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm racing this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I've always watched GNCC at home, so, you know, you're always watching Caleb win all these championships, and it wasn't a GNCC, but lining up with him at a sprint enduro is definitely cool. You know, beating the guy at a couple tests is definitely special.
Yeah, same here for me. You know, Caleb, Thad, Josh Strang. Yeah, a handful of those guys, even Ryan Sipes. I remember I was in XC2 one time, and I had caught up to Ryan Sipes, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'll just follow him, and if I do that, I'll probably end up doing pretty well. And I remember he ended up crashing. It was a muddy technical race, and I just went on by, and yeah, it was just definitely weird to me. And yeah, it's cool once you finally get used to that, and the guys you looked up to, you start battling with and beating, and yeah, you learn that they're just another guy, just another person like you.
Got to be a lot of confidence that I feel like comes up with that as well, especially if you're able to run with those guys. Like, man, you know, obviously this guy's a hero. He knows what he's doing. He's extremely accomplished, and to be able to run that pace, definitely a little feather to put in your cap.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to, you know, like wisdom from their years of experience and racecraft, you know, so you might be as fast or faster, but they always end up beating you because they're a little bit smarter and they know how to get the job done. So it's good to be able to try to hang a wheel as long as you can. Oh, so we have someone spinning out here.
I think that's Jordan. I think Johnny's passed Jordan. Yeah, he has. So yep. Johnny's got it around Ashburn.
So good. So you're going to have to start calling Liam Eagle Eye. He spotted it out. So Gerard,
orange helmet.
Yep, making the pass. and Ashburn just a little too hot on the throttle there coming out of the corner. You guys talked about that hard base, and obviously in conditions like this, especially in the dry stuff, a little too much throttle, and you can do a full 360 just like we saw there from Ashburn.
Yeah, you could see even Stu Baylor bouncing off those berms. They look really silty, and then Jordan Ashburn kind of, as he was on the inside, you get that hard pack slick stuff with the dust, very easy to slide out.
So there we see Johnny Gerard now chasing after the guy he's battling for the championship. Obviously, Gerard with the upper hand right now, got a fair amount of points over top of Stu Baylor, but nonetheless, that is the last guy that he wants to see out in front of him. And then there goes Grant Davis, still having a very strong ride. Actually looked like he had kind of caught back up to those top three.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of that first lap, he kind of lost the touch a little bit, but it's good that he caught back up and he can see him on these open ski slopes. If he can get on him and try to tow up, have these guys towing through, he'll save a lot of energy and of course learn a lot.
Now you guys, obviously you do a lot of strategy, you kind of plan when you want to attack, when you want to kind of hold back and all. If you're Johnny Gerard right now, what do you think the thought process is? Obviously I'm sure the team's telling him what the gap is between him and Stu. He's probably eating a lot of dust right now as well. Do you think we're going to see a sprint out of the 969, or is it going to be, hey, I'm going to give him another 45 and then I'm going to drop the hammer?
I think we'll see Johnny on Stu's wheel here shortly. That would, if I was in Johnny's position right now, that would be the best case scenario. Sprint and catch him and follow his lines and figure out where he's going and go from there, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's no urgency really to make the pass, to try to be out front right now. I think we've kind of seen that the last two races out of Johnny. Honestly, he's been right up there in the mix. And we're thinking someone else is going to have the win, but then he ends up catching, caught Craig DeLong, didn't make the pass, but caught him, and then same at the last round, made a late pass on Stu Baylor.
Now, unless I missed him, did we see Jordan Ashburn come through?
I think we missed him. I don't think.
Okay, he might have gone to the other side of the camera, but we did see DeLong come through there. We might have missed Grant Davis as well, so probably just missed him on the other side of the camera, as now Evan Smith having a solid ride as well. And this is another one of those kind of different sides. Obviously a lot more roots over here on this side of the mountain. Still nonetheless, behind every tree is a fan. We're waiting to jump out and cheer for their favorite rider. Here at the 5 mile mark, there goes rough and rowdy Ricky Russell back with us here.
Yeah, he's, coming off a little bit of a shoulder injury, so probably not riding and training as much as he likes. So, someone like him, at a race like this, I'd expect to see him up off the front, but maybe it's one of those things where, he's just not fully up to form quite yet.
And now, flash forward here back on the Yamaha Racing Live drone. This is your leader, Stu Baylor, headed down the hill. Once again, got that Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki out front, exactly where he wants it to be. And there is Gerard.
It looks like he's sprinting. He's going for Stu.
And there is Ashburn, so he is still up and running in that third place spot.
Grant Davis. Looks like Craig's caught up too.
Yeah, definitely looks like Craig has closed that gap up to Davis. I believe it will be Grant Baylor coming through next. The Grizzly, another one of those riders where that seems like that first hour, he's really not too worried about it. No matter how far back he is, he just doesn't seem to stress. And then sure enough, about that halfway mark, you really get into that late second hour, he turns things up. It never ceases to amaze me how you guys are able to almost store a little bit of energy, and then all of a sudden it's like it's go time and you start coming towards the front.
Yeah, and even now, he's closer to the front than he usually is, so that may play into his favor later on. And when he was interviewed on the start line, yeah, he was excited, he was fired up, and he says he likes this place.
So be on the lookout for the Grizzly, a late race charge, as I think you guys were both absolutely correct. Definitely looks like Johnny Gerard's got the intensity and the sense of urgency as he comes down that hill.
You can see everyone's kind of staying to the left side as the rocks are pushed over to the right, charging down pretty fast.
I noticed, follow obviously a lot of these guys on social media as well. Several of these riders going to different places around the country, headed up north a little bit to try to get a little more time and obviously set those bikes up for these rockier terrains.
Yeah, definitely. I hung out with the boys this week and Craig and watched him do a bunch of rock riding, and Cooper Jones and all that. And yeah, they definitely take this race serious and change it up with the tire changes and suspension.
So taking a look now, here comes Evan Smith across here at mile number 6, kind of hanging all by his lonesome at the moment, trying to chase down Grant Baylor and Craig DeLong in front of him. And here comes Ricky Russell aboard that Ampro Yamaha machine here at the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC. You know, he's wanting to put a good effort out there for the kind of the home race here for Yamaha Racing, doing a big to-do. Had some tryouts, I believe, being able to do some test riding and check out the YZ lines. And Liam, were you over there watching? Were you giving pointers at all?
Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough last week. I was in Washougal, Washington for the release of the new bike, so that'll come out soon. But yeah, hopefully Ricky gets going soon and catches up.
So always cool to be able to see that next line of bikes coming out. But right now it is the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki out front leading the way. We're going to show you how he's got to where he's at right now. As looks like there goes Oliveira coming down the hill, but here it is, as you see, getting a great look at your top 3. So Stu Baylor out front leading the way. It was Jordan Ashburn holding on to the second place spot, but Johnny Gerard has made the pass and is trying to chase down the 514. These guys are coming around. They've got one lap in the books. We'll see how things are going to shake out. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to GNCC.
I'm Stu Baylor, and you're watching GNCC Live on RacerTV.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
Hi, I'm Ben Kelly. I'm from Harwinton, Connecticut, and I race GNCC and National Enduro for Red Bull FMF Factory KTM Racing Team. We're out here at the Fuel Ministry Camp at the Oak Motocross Park in Coalport, PA. I grew up riding, obviously, and I race dirt bikes for a living now, and I finally got the time this year, and it's just a good opportunity to give back. You know, I was this young kid at one point, and it's cool to have someone that they might look up to and maybe be more open to take pointers from than their mom or their dad.
Be doing everything good, just focus on the right form and like looking ahead and just linking the track together.
It's really fun working with the kids, especially in smaller groups. You know, watch them ride, give them some pointers here and there, and it's cool to give them these little tips and kind of watch their eyes light up and watch it click. And yeah, it's fun to just watch the kids, watch them improve, and most of all have fun, just riding dirt bikes and having fun with their friends.
Make sure your feet are on the pegs. Try to stand up and wheelie your front tire over that root. Make sure you got your chest leaned forward and you're gripping with your knees, so you don't want to catch your toe and twist it out. You want your toes always pointed in.
Fuel Ministries being a Christian camp is definitely really cool. You can see it just in the kids. You know, they're all really nice, really respectful, and focusing on the dirt bike, but in between the dirt bike training, taking time to teach them and guide them to be better humans. This facility was really fun. My first time really riding in PA other than racing, and it was cool. This facility is perfect in the fact that it has the mini track for the kids, the intermediate track, the amateur pro moto track, and then we got the woods, grass track, little enduro cross setup. It's honestly perfect for a camp like this where they're working on technique. Yeah, got to spin a few laps. It was a lot of fun. It's nice to be asked to come out to these types of things, and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of people, a lot of teamwork to pull something like this off and have it be ran. And it seems like a pretty professional organization, Fuel Ministries, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I came out, and I'll have to try to do it again in the future.
An awesome feature there. Look at that, throwing a little whip for the fans there. BK, first of all, how good did it feel to be back on a bike?
Yeah, it was good. You know, it's kind of one of the first times I actually rode, and, you know, I felt decent. You know, I'm supposed to be taking it easy, and, you know, I am a little, but was feeling good and, you know, opened it up a little bit.
We won't show the surge in that one.
Yeah, nah. I think they know it's dirt bikes. You know, you can't really take it easy. So
they try to tame us, but they just can't do it. And talk about it, obviously, giving back to the next generation of GNCC. Both you guys grew up racing and riding. How cool is it to kind of be able to see the fundamentals building for the next group of riders coming through?
Yeah, it's really cool. You know, me growing up, I didn't really have that type of thing. You know, just kind of learned from my dad and whoever else gave us a few pointers here and there. But yeah, it's awesome. You know, going to a summer camp, but it's centered around dirt bikes is pretty awesome. And yeah, it's cool to see the kids just riding, having fun, and improving, like I said.
Hey, absolutely. Having a good time on motorcycles for sure. And Liam, you guys do a lot of that with the Blue Crew and the Yamaha stuff as well. I see you guys chatting with Colton McQuarrie and some of the younger riders as well, kind of giving them points. And you guys kind of talk about the way the tracks are breaking down as well. We got a bright future coming in GNCC.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the Blue Crew camps are definitely cool to help the youth of the sport. I remember what I was like when I was a kid, and even when I first came over here, it was special to ride with, you know, Caleb, Stu, and Ben and all those guys, and I know what it is in a kid's pair of shoes, you know, walking around and then get to ride with those guys. So I enjoy the Blue Crew camps, and I definitely make time to go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I say it all the time, even coming from the motocross side of things. You know, you don't go to your local basketball game, you play the game, and then LeBron James is playing on the same court later that day. And even with motocross, you know, out at Loretta Lynn's, it's the best of the best in amateurs, but you don't have Eli Tomac and the rest of them lining up later. Here at GNCC, you guys have got little fans that are racing in the mornings. They see you guys almost each and every weekend at these rounds, and it's really, we talk about GNCC being a family. It's so cool that, you know, I know you guys probably have kids that you recognize seeing race after race, and when we say that you guys are their idols, they worship the ground that you walk on, and they try to imitate the ground that you ride on.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's cool to give your jersey out or give your number plate out to these kids that go and hang it up on their wall and talk to their friends about it and go to school with it. It's definitely sweet.
Taking a look now here at mile 10, waiting on your leaders. It is Stu Baylor leading the way, at least last time we saw, with Johnny Gerard making the pass for second place on that FMF Red Bull KTM, and then Ashburn holds down the third place on that Coastal Racing gas with Grant Davis, the XC2 points leader, trying to chase him down on that Landers Racing KTM. And then Craig DeLong, it did look like he had kind of closed that gap up to Davis, so we'll see whether or not he's been able to continue to close the gap or even possibly make a pass. And I always like, obviously, when we're waiting on the leaders, we get to see some of the deeper fields, and it's crazy. You guys make it seem so easy out there that an announcer thinks he can do it. We see where that got me, but nonetheless, you get a better idea of just how technical and how tough some of these sections are. But got to be a little frustrating for you guys sometimes. The way you process stuff is now we see your leader coming in on screen. Obviously, you could see just from that last rider, and this is no hate talk here, very different speed. Looked like some different line choices there. I'm not sure if that was exactly where Stu wanted to go, but it does look like he's kind of maintained that gap between himself and Gerard.
Yeah, I think he meant to. You could see him, sliding that rear brake and stand the bike up straight across the rocks and staying out of that water where it's a little more traction.
Looks like these two definitely opening it up.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they have broken away from the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn. Here he comes popping out of the woods, and look at that.
Wow, Grant Baylor.
Wow, we talked about the diesel, as we like to call it, getting warmed up, Grizzly, and then Craig DeLong right there as well. So we've got a 4-rider freight train making their way through.
Yeah, it looked like Grant Baylor did just make that pass, using the same line Stu did, sliding that rear tire and getting the bike straight up and down so he can get harder on the gas. And man, that trials tire hooked up there for him.
Definitely.
Absolutely, definitely working out for him as we see our man, looks like Kyle Wolf trying to get the shot out there. As here comes Evan Smith making his way through. Smith just a little out of eyesight from those guys. And you guys could probably talk about that. Obviously, when you can see a rider, even if they're just up at the end of your sight, it definitely probably helps a little bit as far as pacing goes, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like Johnny right here, he can see Stu and see the lines he's taking and definitely pace off of him a lot easier.
Now, talking about being able to see out front, we talk about race strategy and different ways to kind of stop the people behind you. Do you think Stu's maybe going a little wide and hitting some of these powder berms, or is he just trying to take the best line possible?
I definitely think he's hitting the powder berms. Yeah. I don't think he's too concerned about the filter change or anything like that. I don't think it's that bad.
Talk about a sense of urgency. Baylor's got the throttle wide open on that Babbitt's Online Kawasaki. He is trying to head towards the front as out of the dust pops Jordan Ashburn on that Coastal Racing gas. Getting kicked around a little bit coming up that hill. We're seeing some feet come off the pegs, hanging on for dear life, and Racer TV obviously does a great job of getting you the best coverage possible, but doesn't quite do it justice to how steep some of these hills are. Jackson mentioned it earlier. One side of the track, a black diamond for the skiing and snowboarding side of things here in the winter, just to give you an idea as to how steep the hillsides are here.
Yeah, definitely it is steep. That hill there, FMF Power Point that we normally come up, normally's got a river flowing down it, so it's definitely odd to see it that dry out.
Taking a look now, looks like everybody, Gerard there, grabbing a little bit of hydration. And they are back off and rolling. And this is probably kind of another one of those sections where we're able to take just a little bit of a breather, relax the hands a little bit. We saw, I believe it was DeLong earlier, kind of waving that hand down one of the faster sections. You see Grant Baylor getting cheered on by his team.
I think this may, depending on how far back Grant is, because Grant started off of row 2, and those the two in front of him were on row 1, so maybe the time adjustment.
Yeah, we've seen it before. The adjusted time definitely plays a role in this, as all of these riders making their way through, a lot of them grabbing hydration. Look like Grant getting a little tossed on the back as well to keep him cool. One of the hotter snowshoes out here as well. We talk about the sun's been shining, obviously a lot drier, but several people being like, man, I don't think I've ever felt it this hot up here at Snowshoe either. As Gerard, within about a second or two, he likes pulling wheelies going down that road, doesn't he?
Having fun.
He's saving that front tire.
Yeah.
So here we go, getting a great shot from your Yamaha Racing live drone, showing exactly how fast these guys are coming. And I think you're onto something, Liam. Baylor is close. Grant Baylor, of course, is close, and he is trying to chase him down. Taking a note out of Gerard's book. Pick that front wheel up. It must be a strategy for you guys.
Yeah, a little bit of a power wheelie, pulling back on the handlebars and waiting that rear tire. Yeah, Grant Baylor's looking really good here, and if he can catch up to those guys, he'll have the time made up from time adjustment, and yeah, he'll be able to battle with them guys, and I'm sure time adjustment won't be enough. He'll want to get physically in the overall.
Absolutely, and he's got plenty of time to do it here as we are just past the 1 hour mark. look at how fast these guys are going. Absolutely wide open.
450 against the 350.
Yeah, but Johnny is
closing him in. Yeah,
he might even pass him right here. There
Take
it is.
a look at this.
Oh, yeah.
I think Stu pulled over.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think they're racing.
So.
They're racing.
Yeah, I mean, these open sections are the best place to pass and also the best place to really make up a whole lot of time, you know. Being aggressive on these slopes, you can make up easily 30 seconds, you know, within these 4 miles. Than it would be to make up that much time in the technical woods.
Man, so how about that slingshot engage for Johnny Gerard? Had that KTM wide open and went around Stu Baylor. We'll see if Baylor's able to respond.
He's going for it, Johnny.
Yep.
He's getting out.
He's confident. He must be feeling good, you know. They know their fitness is strong, so must be comfortable.
It's definitely a big momentum boost, you know, go into the summer break with a win. Ben did it last year, and I was fortunate enough to win XC2 last year and go into the summer break, and I gained the points lead. So 2 months is a long time to dwell on what happened at Snowshoe.
And good is exactly what he said. Mikey Wayne's doing a pre-race report before we went live on Racer TV. And normally, I'm not going to say he's quite as chatty as Stu Baylor, but normally, you know, he elaborates a little bit. He said, "Hey, Johnny, how you feeling?" "Good." That's it. Good. I'm feeling good. That's all I need to say. Let me do what I need to do. And he's doing just that right now as we see the Grizzly Grant Baylor trying to do what he needs to do to catch up to these two. Johnny Gerard and Stu Baylor going to battle here at the top of the XC1 field.
Yeah, it looks like Grant Baylor is 14 seconds behind the leaders.
So we've got a little bit of time to make up before the adjusted time is going to come into play. And obviously, like you guys said, he'd love to physically get in front of them and win this thing straight up. But that is nice to have that little bit of time buffer as you're headed into the end of the race. And so taking a look as they peek back out of sight, you kind of get an idea. It looks like some places being built. Maybe you guys want to buy a nice house up here on Snowshoe Mountain. You just live at Snowshoe all the time.
Yeah, it'd be a good spot, except you're kind of far from town.
Yeah, not the best signal. The trip to Walmart takes a little longer than normal, but absolutely fantastic out here at Snowshoe. Like I said, it's my second year coming here, but the entire event facility, the staff here, they absolutely embrace GNCC. I mean, we're a wild bunch. I don't think that's surprising to anybody, and so for them to open their doors, I believe this is the 18th year we've been here at Snowshoe. And like we said, we've caught up with a lot of different riders. Some love, some don't. Let's hear from the man who has just taken over the lead, Johnny Gerard, and what he thinks about Snowshoe.
Love Snowshoe. Like I said, from New England, love the rocks and roots, and there's just nothing quite like that place, the atmosphere, and for all the fans and the shopping and the restaurants and the bars and the lake at the bottom of the mountain, and there's just so much to do. Just really cool atmosphere for everyone for the weekend. I guess it's like an old Blackwater start, the way I see it. And yeah, you go off 5 to a row, and it's a running engine start, and yeah, it's just different. It's cool starting on the asphalt and making that first corner, trying not to slide out, and at the same time trying to make it around that corner first and dropping off the ledge. Just always a cool experience for sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely a very busy event. I would say the quads get a little more rowdy crowd than we do. Saturday, you go down to Howard's Hole, and there's thousands of people down there, and it's just like nothing you've ever seen before. And if you haven't experienced it, I would make some time to get out there and experience it, because like I said, it's nothing like you've ever seen before. So it's just super cool. Saturday, right before the Pro Quad race goes off, find yourself at Howard's Hole and you'll have a good time.
Having a good time for sure out front as we check in here at Mile 2, the Monster Mile, a.k.a. Howard's Hole, as we'll see how Johnny Gerard is making his way through. I don't know. I think he differs from you guys. It sounds like he wants the crowd down there. He enjoys the spectacle of Howard's Hole. And like we said, the entire atmosphere of this Snowshoe GNCC, a little different than some of the other events. And here's a nice little idea as to how difficult this place is. You see one rider having to pick her up on one wheel. That's where it's nice to have the people with the headset pointing lines.
Definitely, yeah.
we'll have to see. We're waiting on these leaders here, and like I said earlier, Grant Baylor was 14 seconds behind the leaders, but that was physical time. So really, with his time adjustment, he's probably about 4 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, within a couple of seconds for sure. And like we said, I think this is only the beginning for Baylor. He kind of seems to steamroll and get faster and faster as the race goes on. So he's in a great position right now, but he does have the likes of Jordan Ashburn. Craig DeLong seems like he's on the move as well on that number 1, getting around the 922 of Grant Davis, who is leading your XC2 class. So watching some of our riders make their way through. Get through pretty clean for that rider. Had the feet off the pegs just in case.
It's crazy how wide it looks down there on TV. This fan over here is having a good time. I can see the camera.
Yeah, everybody wanting to get their 15 seconds of fame out here on Racer TV. They're going to go back and enjoy rewatching the race. And for all you folks at home, I know it sounds almost like a YouTube influencer ad here, but you guys talk about how they can help improve the Racer TV broadcast and continue to have us bring you the GNCC coverage that we do. All you got to do, if you're watching on YouTube right now, don't close this out. Just minimize the full screen. Click subscribe. Leave us a comment. Maybe constructive criticism. My feelings do get hurt. All right, I'm trying my best. But that's why we brought in some of the best to help me out up here. But nonetheless, something as simple as clicking subscribe. It lets YouTube know. It lets our sponsors know that you guys are enjoying the coverage that we're providing here at Racer TV. And we do the best that we can to give you guys the best idea possible of how exciting and how much fun it is to be out here at a GNCC event. But I can't say it enough. If you find one close to you, even if it's a couple hours away, you got to come see this in person, because the cameras do a great job, but they don't quite capture just how insane a GNCC race is in person.
Looks like these guys must be getting close, so the mechanics are running.
Everybody getting into position, getting prepared to point their rider what they believe is going to be the best line.
Yeah, that's one thing you can see. They were all huddled up around this stump. You know, they're trying to save the line for their guy rather than standing around it for these lappers, which sucks for the lappers, but hey, these guys are out here trying to win races and make money.
It's part of it for sure. And that's what the guy with the shirt off for. He's pointing lines to everybody else. But yeah, the factory, you see that Coastal Racing Gas team. They've got 3 or 4 guys down there to make sure their rider knows exactly where to go, as does Red Bull KTM, getting everybody set up. I know, I believe it was Cody Groves told me he was going to be down there for the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki guys. And Groves could probably handle it by himself. He's the hype man there for the team as well. As we continue to wait for your leaders to make their way through, Johnny Gerard taking over the lead. And we talked about it a little bit on the commercial break. I think it's go time for Johnny Gerard. It looked like he was going as fast as he could beforehand, but now that he was able to get around that lead, I think we're going to see an all-out sprint.
Yeah, I think he's going to put a push in this lap, because I'm guessing they're going to fuel after at the completion of this lap.
We're seeing one rider having some troubles getting through there. And has that ever happened to you guys, where maybe you're following a line directed to you, or you're just getting into Howard's Hole and all of a sudden there's a lap rider or 3 or 4 stuck there and you got to on the fly change things up?
Yeah, you know, that's why you got to keep your head up. You don't want that to happen. You're always trying to take a different line, as we have Stu Baylor come through here. But sometimes there's only one good line and you have to follow the lapper.
So we're seeing Stu. Did we see Gerard come through already?
So maybe
B-Dog jumped down.
Stu must have.
There we go. So Baylor did make the pass back on Johnny Gerard. So some great racing up at the front of the field as the 514 retakes the lead.
Stu's definitely wanting to get a lead before the field stop, I'm sure.
Stu looks good though, you know. He's obviously riding fast, but he's, you know, looks like he's saving some energy for the end, which is something you really have to do at this track.
Grant Baylor's going back.
Yeah, it looks like both DeLong and Davis have gotten around the Grizzly. So a 4-rider freight train as Ashburn. There you see DeLong. He's slowly but surely making his way towards the front as well, and looks like he's trying to bring Grant Davis along with him. And then Grant Baylor just behind them.
Must have been an issue or something. That was that fresh cut section the guys have been talking about, the new entrance to Howard's Hole. So
yeah, I saw a lot of riders, a lot of you guys, obviously you get on the eMTBs, you're pedaling around, you're taking a look at the course, and it seemed like all of the guys that I talked to said, I want to go check out Howard's Hole. I want to see exactly what they've changed and try to scope out a line. Probably difficult to scope out much of anything on Saturday, but obviously you guys being able to walk around and take a look at stuff, as I believe that was Evan Smith that we just saw go through on screen. And that's another thing we talk about, how this is a dry round. You guys, obviously, you've got years of experience coming to these races. While there are changes here and there, overall, the course that you guys are running is relatively similar year to year. Do you kind of have to throw the notes out the window as far as bike setup and stuff like that if you're accustomed to a much wetter snowshoe that we saw last year as compared to something like this, or does it stay relatively the same regardless?
Well, I think it stays relatively similar, you know. Tire choice, I feel like, is the biggest thing for us. I don't really steer too far into it, but I know these guys do. And suspension a little bit, but, you know, the rocks are just going to be drier. And I think it's still super slick out there in the woods. I know the guys were talking about the section before, how it's all being slick. But, no, I don't think it's too major. You can see Stu looks like he's blowing up the berms to try and dust Johnny out.
Yeah, it looks to be really slippery on these open sections on the ski slope. They bounce into those berms, but they're so soft, they're not really holding the guys up, you know, kind of bogs them down a little bit.
So it looks like they are starting to work their way through some light lap traffic at the moment, but we've got a huge turnout here on hand. I know in our AM bike race we had almost 600 riders out on course at one time. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not that's going to play into the mix of things as well, especially with, like we said, in some of these sections, a lot thicker dust. We talked about Stu Baylor maybe trying to hit some of these powder berms as well, but he's going to be eating the dust off of some of the lappers as he comes through as well. And that could be difficult. We talk about how that leading rider sometimes has the hardest time getting the lap riders to move out of the way. And when they look back and all they see is a cloud of dust, it might make it that much tougher.
It looks like Johnny Girard might be ahead of Stu Baylor again as they pop out of that woods.
So a true back and forth battle between Girard and Baylor. But I did not see Baylor in that long shot at all. So it looks like not only has Girard made the pass, but maybe put a little bit of distance between them as well.
He's just behind him. He should be coming.
Yeah, as they pan back, we should be able to see him. I believe that is Stu.
Yeah.
Yep, does look like Baylor's still back there. So lost the position and lost just a little bit of time here on these open sections. Definitely looks like Girard feels pretty comfortable when it comes time to open that machine up and go full speed.
Yeah, it's hard to tell on this drone shot, but they're actually coming down a hill right now. They're going to make this right-hander and then start heading back up the mountain. And that hill is it's a lot steeper than it looks.
Yeah.
And then you have all these water bars coming across, so you're coming down really fast into these steep little banks that they make to divert water off the mountain, and man, that's where your suspension unloads on you.
See one of those lap riders getting caught up in some of the thicker, siltier type soil as you see Girard wide open, throwing a cloud of dust back there.
It's definitely a lot siltier than I thought it was going to be.
As we flash here to mile 4, here comes the FMF Red Bull KTM, and Girard just popped off screen so fast the camera couldn't even catch up with him. Look at that. Here comes Baylor behind him, and you see just absolutely in a cloud of dust right now. Now, one thing about dust, we talk about, you know, how hard mud is. Obviously, it's hard terrain. It gets all over everything. But the dust, it really gets all over everything. Your teeth are orange by the end of the race. You're breathing it in. And it looks like Baylor has gotten back around and taken over Ashburn as well. So
it's gone past Ashburn and Craig.
And I believe Davis had passed him at one point, too. So, again, seeing a lot of back and forth. Looks like some riders really excelling in one side of the track versus the other. As Baylor putting the pace on. 2 Baylors now sitting inside the top 3. And you see Girard picking the front wheel up, trying to stay up and over some of this rough stuff. Keeping light on the bike, and looks like it's working for him right now as he heads back out of sight. There we see Baylor working his way through as well. We pop in here at mile number 5, watching Girard on the pegs.
I feel like this section here is so slick. Each year you go up this and come back down, and it's slick.
Yeah, a lot of exposed roots, really big roots out here in rocks.
Grant Baylor might be catching Big Brother.
Is on the charge.
So there we go, the Grizzly, like we said, getting good and warmed up, and now he's starting his charge forward.
Jordan Ashburn in 4th.
Craig DeLong just went by.
OPAG doing the math right now, trying to figure out exactly what the gaps are. We'll start looking at that time adjustment as well, as Baylor's moving forward, trying to catch up to Big Brother, and ultimately trying to chase down Johnny Girard out front at the moment here at mile number 5.
yeah, Johnny just pulling just enough of a gap to where Stu couldn't see him as they entered the woods. If Johnny could keep pulling that gap, then it is a little bit harder on Stu, as he won't be able to key off his lines.
And like we said, as we see Evan Smith making his way through, a lot of back and forth. That was kind of surprised from one shot to another. It seemed like Baylor had lost a lot of time. Then all of a sudden, not only was he back around, but he had a gap as well. We're talking here from the Racer TV studio, but we do have our very own Jackson Burrell hanging down, I believe, at the 6-mile mark. Jackson, what are you seeing?
Yes, sir. We are seeing a lot of loose rocks up here on this hill. Like we said earlier, of course, this hill is going to be a lot steeper in person than what you expect on the camera. But the only way I could describe the rocks here, it's like a dump truck came to the top of the hill and just dumped a thing of loose gravel all down the hill. So we're waiting on the arrival of your first place down at the hill. We already got some lap riders making their way down, so the riders going to have to deal with all of these lap riders that are making their way down now.
Yeah, great shot there of the rocks, Jackson. Are you seeing a lot of different line choices, or does it seem like everybody's kind of looking to that wide side?
Everybody's going to that wide side. That is the only line that doesn't have just an absolute million of loose rocks.
So we'll wait and see. Should be seeing the leaders any minute now here at mile 6. And Jackson, it's hard to tell here on the camera. How steep is this hill? We see them coming downhill, but obviously you know as well as I do, the camera doesn't quite do it justice.
It is very steep, especially up towards the top of the hill. I had a hard time even making it to where I'm at right now, so if that tells you anything, a very, very steep hill.
So not only are these riders hot on the bindings, but they're trying to navigate through a lot of steep rocks as well. Let's hear it, Jackson. What do you got?
Johnny Gerard now making his way down. Look at this, a lap rider. He goes through the rocks. Wow.
Looks like Stu's pulled back up to him.
Stu Baylor. Lap rider luckily getting out of Stu Baylor's way.
So we'll wait and see. There we see the top two. Does look like they've stretched it out once again. Who we got next, Jackson?
Grant Baylor now making his way down through. All right, just behind Baylor is going to be Ashburn. And then we see Craig DeLong making his way down. And now Grant Davis just on his heels.
So some great insight there from Jackson Burrell here at mile 6. Jackson, what are you seeing as far as these guys when they're on the brakes? Have you seen anybody lock it up and the rocks slide out from under them, or has everybody been able to get through relatively smooth?
You're not seeing a lot of people hard on the brakes by any means. The rocks are so loose, there is no way they're going to be able to grab a lot of brakes. Everybody just going real slow, making their way through. But for the pro riders, they're the people that we see grabbing the brakes pretty hard, hitting the gas hard, especially Johnny Gerard as he made his way down.
Yeah, Gerard kind of taking an alternate line, having to find his way around that lap rider in front of him. A great insight there from mile 6. Jackson Burrell doing a good job of giving us firsthand knowledge as to what the track is looking like. And we'll be tuning back into Jackson here in just a little bit. But, guys, we saw it. It was a 4-rider freight train behind the Grizzly. Looked like he had lost a little bit of time on your top two. And looks like he had DeLong, Davis, and Ashburn all right there behind him.
Yeah, I got a little rough time there on Stu to Grant. I had 20 seconds, so it's probably 10 seconds with adjusted time because Grant was on row 2.
And here comes rough and rowdy Ricky Russell making his way down through the line as well, taking that high line, trying to avoid those rocks. Absolute bonsai move there from Johnny Gerard, trying to get around a lap rider. But all in all, it has been great racing so far as we are over an hour in, maybe close to an hour and a half. And let's show you the pass. The first of the passes is Johnny Gerard, Ricky Bobby style. I mean, slingshot engaged, makes his way around Stu Baylor. Stu says, hang on a second, I'm not giving this one up quite yet, but Gerard was able to close the door, and it looked like he was going to try to run away. But Baylor said, hang on, I'm still in this fight, was able to make a pass. And then we saw Gerard get back around as well. There you see Gerard out front. We got a whole lot more racing action. We're going to get a word from our sponsors. This is the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC.
I'm Johnny Gerard, and you're watching GNCC Live on RacerTV.com.
the podium here, I don't think any atmosphere can match it. Nothing quite like pro motocross.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC, round number 9 of the Progressive GNCC Racing Series. And we're here at mile number 4. We talk about Snowshoe. It's a spectacle, all right? It's a whole lot more than just a motorcycle or quad race. It's an entire event that people come to. They show up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we had even more racing this year as we have the eMTB Racing Series. Joining us here, Specialized Turbo presenting that. And for those of you that haven't, you got to try one of these things out. They are absolutely fantastic. There you see Cypress Gorey, your points leader out of the XC1 group, grabbing that early race lead, and that is bad news for the rest of the field. There you go. See Talon Hawk on that Coastal Racing gas back machine, and all of these riders pedaling, and what little assist that they do get, because I promise it is still extremely difficult to ride on this kind of terrain. They needed it because you're going up and down these hillsides. There you see multi-time champ Charlie Mullins jumping back out and wanted to get in on the mix as well. He had a good time. I believe finished 3rd in the XC1 class. And you can see the terrain just as brutal for these mountain bikes as it is for the quads and the bikes. But one thing you can also see, a lot of smiles on the faces. I mean, up on the podium each and every round, they're saying, guys, you've got to come out. You've got to try this. You want to be like that guy right there, Cypress Gorey. He is the man to beat at the top of the XC1 group. There you see Cody Pivarato just barely missing out on one of those trees. He's been pushing the pace here recently, trying to get up to that top step as well. But Cypress Gorey, he's got that number 1 for a reason, and he would not be denied as he grabs yet another XC1 win. Hanging out, and this is what I mean, camaraderie. They're hanging out, chatting it up with another, as it was Ben Ort finishing 2nd and Cody Pivarato rounding out your XC1 podium there for the Specialized Turbo eMTB Racing Series. And giving you guys a little rundown. And we talked about getting to know the riders underneath the helmet. Let's catch up with the man who looks to be on the move, Grant Baylor.
I'm just a nervous guy, so I don't know. Probably when I walked in here today, probably got a little nervous. I don't really do much off the bike. You know, I was fortunate enough to make money at a young age, you know, doing this. And I took a lot of my money when I was younger and invested it, and you know, that's worked out well for me. So I would say that's a pretty good accomplishment out of racing. At least set me up for life after racing a little bit. It was I want to say 1997 KTM 50. I don't even know if they had a junior or senior 50 at the time. I think it was just KTM 50. You know, the plastic on it's like half an inch thick. It was air cooled. But yeah, we still got it. It's been sitting up in the shop since it's been retired, and it was a good bike. Went through Stewart and then me as well, so yeah, it was a good bike. I always thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to fly a plane, something like that, but other than that, I'm really good at picking stuff up and doing it, so I wish I could be better at golfing, of course, but yeah, I don't know, that's a hard one. It'd be pretty cool to just be indestructible, I guess. Take some hard blows to my body doing this racing. It would be nice to have that. Everybody always called me the sloth, so might have to be a sloth. Everybody calls me Grizzly and thinks this Grizzly the bear, but it's actually Grizzly Adams. I got that nickname because Ronnie Tomlin, the old announcer, he gave me that nickname probably about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now. But he gave me that nickname because he thought I looked a lot like Grizzly Adams. So it's actually Grizzly Adams, not Grizzly the bear. It's usually when my beard's bigger. You know, dirt bikes are cool and all, and going fast on dirt bikes is really cool, but you know, what it's all about out here is it's all about your family and you know, your friends and people you meet doing this. So I would say just keep that in mind, and yeah, just don't get too full of yourself.
All right, so we may be making the name change. It might be the Sloth, Grant Baylor. I was not expecting that one. I definitely see the Grizzly Adams, though. I see what Rodney was getting at there with that. But I definitely think you guys probably agree, indestructible, probably the right superpower for a GNCC racer.
Definitely, yeah. That would be nice. I know Grant's had a bunch of shoulder surgeries and injuries, so I'm sure he wishes that.
Neither one of you guys would be in here hanging out with me, though, so I'm sad that you guys got hurt, but I am glad to be able to have you up here in the booth, and it's been fun chatting and calling the racing with you. Obviously, I talk about it with Johnny Gallagher all the time. It's so cool to see the way you guys look at the racing lines and different things that the riders are doing as compared to somebody like myself or some of these fans that maybe don't pick up on just the minute little things that make champions and make race winners like yourselves, and so always fun to have that firsthand knowledge here in the studio with us as we wait at mile 10 for your leaders. Last time we saw it was Gerard who had gotten back around Stu Baylor, but it looked like Baylor had closed back up, and right on cue, here he comes, your points leader, Johnny Gerard.
32-10.
So we've got him on the clock right now. We'll wait and see where Stu Baylor's at, if it's still Stu Baylor in the second place spot.
Grant Baylor. No, oh, Stu.
Close. So Stu Baylor's still in that second place spot.
Yeah, just about 20 seconds, I think.
There is Grant Baylor, though. There. And I believe he's actually maybe just caught a glimpse of Stu up in front of him. We'll see whether he's still bringing that freight train along with him. There is Jordan Ashburn hanging tough. He had Craig DeLong and Grant Davis all over the back of him the last time we saw them. There is DeLong almost losing the front end.
Washing that front a little bit on those loose rocks. Hard on the front brakes.
This is a super fast section headed back out the mountain right here that they're going to.
Yeah, then they'll cut up another kind of like a riverbed essentially before they pop out onto the FMF power point.
Now falling off of that lead group just a little bit. Grant Davis still running strong and still leading that XC2 group, but he was locked on the rear wheel of Craig DeLong for almost the last lap and a half. He just kind of loses touch with him.
Yeah, here we see Johnny. I think he's going to go into the pit and get fuel and get out just in front of Stu.
Now, you think any pit strategy going to go into it is, man, look at that. Gerard really feeling the flow, soaking up, catching a little bit of air coming up that hill as well.
Yeah, that was nice, hopping up onto the tar, the asphalt, and then, yeah, right up the next one, a little bit of style.
So there you see Stu trying to chase him down.
Same line out of Stu. I'm assuming they're both going to be pitting on this lap. But Stu is one of those guys to alternate the pit strategy, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Baylor definitely likes playing the pit games for sure, but it definitely looks like Grant is still making up ground as he was maybe a second or two off of the back of Stu Baylor. There you see Johnny Gerard, whoa, threading the needle there, getting around that lap rider.
I would say Grant is going to overtake Stu here, and you see Johnny dumping his goggles there, throwing them at his motorhome, so he ain't got to go far.
And we're going to see, we do expect both of these riders to go into the pits and stop for fuel. And there it is, Gerard coming in. And it looks like, look at that, perfect for the camera shot. Right across is Stu Baylor. So Gerard off and rolling already.
Yeah, I don't think Stu had time to see him. Maybe just.
So Stu coming in, a quick wipe of the face. He sees his brother go by. I don't know if the Babbitt's rig is a little further up.
Yeah, it's just one ahead, so we'll see if Grant stopped the pit as well.
As we pick back up with the Yamaha Racing live drone. Johnny Gerard refueled, got a fresh set of goggles on the lid, and is back off and rolling. And this is cool to see. It doesn't seem to matter what camera shot we're at, whether it's a live drone or what. There are fans absolutely everywhere out here. And fans up on the ski lifts watching as the riders go by underneath them. Pretty cool to see just how many people come out to support here at Snowshoe.
Yeah, you can see how windy, looking at the trees there, it looks super windy too.
Might be a benefit though, as far as getting the dust out of the way just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to help blow the dust away. See who got out of the pit stop first.
Looks like Stu there, still right up in front of Grant. But Grant is on him now. I'm sure he's going to want to keep carrying this momentum that he's doing and try to make a pass quick on Stu and start run down Johnny as we see Grant Baylor full tuck there.
Full tuck, absolutely.
Trying to get as aerodynamic as possible.
Jordan Ashburn down the hill as well. Looks like he probably stopped, refueled that gas machine.
It's cool to see. You can see in that camera shot there, Lane Michael out here supporting the boys.
Yeah, great to have Lane out here and hanging out with us.
We're going to see a pass here.
Let's see if Grant Baylor can make a pass in the open.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of looks like Stu gave it to him a little bit there, but you never know.
Well, we've kind of seen that before with Gerard. He made the pass in one of these high-speed sections, and then we flash forward another mile or so when they're back in the woods, and Stu had found his way back around. So,
yeah, maybe Stu can use the speed that Grant Baylor has to tow him back up to Johnny Gerard, but looks like Grant is really hanging it out in these open sections and starting to pull away already.
Yeah, wow. Grant absolutely jetting off right now. That Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki hooking up and hauling the mail as he is trying to chase after Johnny Gerard out front.
It must be dusty because it doesn't look like Stu's really sending it, but I'm sure he is.
Yeah, that's got to be tough, too. I mean, it's one thing dealing with the dust, but in one of the highest speed sections of the track as well. I believe it was Walker Fowler talking about in one of those high-speed sections on Saturday. I'm not sure if he came together with a lap rider or what, but I knew dust played a part in it as well. And it's tough to see stuff like that where it's nobody's fault, really. Obviously, when you can't see, you can't see, but nonetheless, definitely makes it tough on your leaders as your leader right now checks in, comes across the line. Johnny Gerard still out front. And we'll wait to see. It will be Grant Baylor coming across the line.
Grant Baylor 15 seconds physically behind Johnny G, so just about five with time adjustment. But it looks like Grant Baylor is still on the move, so we'll see if he can catch up to the wheel of Johnny G. But Johnny G is going to want to keep running away, knowing that Grant started on the second line.
Absolutely, yeah. Grant doing a great job and racing the clock as much as he's racing the competition. We'll see if he's able to get inside that adjusted time and see if maybe he's even able to make a pass and win this thing straight up. Liam, I see you standing up, man. We're glad to have you up here in the booth. Obviously glad to hear that you're on the road to recovery, and we were glad to have you calling some racing up here.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely, I'd love to be out there racing with these guys, but it was cool to see this side of it, and what you guys do is cool. So thank you for having me in here.
Absolutely, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck over summer break, and we'll see you line up in that XC1 class here later this year.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to come out at it's kind of a hometown race, the Buckwheat GNCC. I know the Jennings family very well, so excited to make that my XC1 debut, and yeah, look forward to racing with Ben too after the summer, and yeah.
There we go. Yeah, well, it'll be back to Mikey, Johnny Jackson, and me up here hanging out in the booth. And so once again, Liam Draper hanging out with us. A great job there for Liam. And like we said at the end of the break, he'll be back up debuting in that XC1 class and be racing with Ben Kelly as well. So excited for the second part of the year. Lots to look forward to as well. We talked about the different events and the different social gatherings going on out here at Snowshoe. I'm no golfer myself, but the US ISDE team has this annual golf tournament. Ben, you said you swing the clubs a little bit, right?
Yeah, I've been out there a few years. I've been lucky to be on the junior team a few times. And yeah, I mean, golfing's one of those things that's not super physical, so you can go out and drive around with your buddies in the carts and yeah, have some fun. And it's one of those things where I feel like you've never made it. You know, it's a super difficult sport. So yeah, a lot of the dirt bike riders like to play.
And this is always just, you know, it's a gentleman's game, right? So you guys are all definitely honest about the scores, right?
I mean, yeah, I like to be. That's the only way you can find it
there
to
you
improve.
go.
But
that's right.
During this tournament, I don't know. You never know what happens.
Hayden Mickelson out there.
Yeah.
He said if he could ride the 4x4 Pro Class as well as he could golf, he'd be in trouble. So,
oh, dang.
Yeah, we were the Rockstar Husky boys. They were putting in work out there on the course as well.
Yeah, Rockstar Husky team manager Anthony right there. Nice little chip on.
Oh,
rolls way by the hole.
Just a bit outside.
And this ISDE tournament, obviously a fundraising event to get the U.S. team out to Spain and get to compete. You guys obviously trying to put the USA back on top once again. I believe this was one of the winning teams out here. Our man Don Hampton down there getting the shots. He was in danger's way, all right? There were golf balls flying everywhere. Yep. You hear 4 hit the floor. That's what I was always told. And this is the most intense racing that we've seen all weekend. The Stasic Showdown, and I believe it was the biggest crowd I've ever seen on hand for a Stasic race.
It was gnarly. Really cool, a little different for them getting to do that in the village. And this was right after the lone rainstorm we had that set in for maybe 20 minutes. And little rippers, look at them doggy paddling there. Number 10 past the Monster Energy Activation Transport. But yeah. This is not a points race if you're new to GNCC, but don't tell these kids that. Like, it's bar banging action. Like, they're out for blood.
It is all out war out there. Like, that kid was paddling because he said he needed more power, all right? He was like, I got to get going. And you see the fans coming out and hanging out. They asked and we answered. They sent them through. Howard's Hole was open for the AM quads, and I think that made it a little rougher for the PM races.
Yeah, it did. It made it rough on the Mud Fleas, too. They had a long work day yesterday. They got a little bit of an early start. Things getting a little rowdy in the village, but overall, hey, 90% of us were well behaved. That man right there, Zach Heron, absolute rock star. Dude, you did it. Like, you can't toot your own horn, right? But hell of a job. Like, it was awesome. You had the crowd going. Loved it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man of many microphones, like I like to say. But always cool to hang out and have a good time. I appreciate Tim and the MX Sports community letting me get down. Man, you guys are making me look good.
Look at that.
Having a blast. And
picking.
Absolutely. The whole crew out there, I mean, you can honestly probably just burp in the microphone and they go crazy. But I did my best. I was wishing I could stand up and rock out with you guys, but we're on.
Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters style, man.
Exactly.
You got the throwing of guitars. They're throwing beach balls at the mic.
Yeah, trying to chip a tooth along with hurting my knee as well. But look, I had to break into announcer right there. I had to yell at him, keep those balls out there, all right? That's
right.
But, no, always a great time. You see an absolute monstrous crowd out there, so everybody having a good time. And like I said, I appreciate you guys letting me do kind of the other stuff that I do. Obviously on the weekends, announcing a lot of motorcycle races, but music a pretty big part of my life as well, and fun to be able to share that with you guys.
I'll give you the shameless plug. Are you available for hire for music?
I am, absolutely,
there
guys. Zach Heron 16 on Instagram. Provide my own equipment as well. DJ Judd was my sound guy this weekend.
Oh, heck
so,
yeah.
If you didn't like how I sounded, it's his fault.
That was Judd's fault. Oh, my goodness. Now you sound like me. Folks, sorry about the audio. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Judd's doing, but actually Judd's running track sweep today. He's pulling double duty. And I think he's definitely equipped for the job. Probably knows this mountain better than most.
He got a small speaker strapped on his back, I heard. He's still DJing around the track.
Mixing it up. Looking at the Monster Energy Monster Mile. Waiting on our leaders to check through here. Gerard, Baylor. That'd be Grant, and then Stu, Ashburn, 4th, DeLong, 5th. A little over the halfway point in this one. Ben, any surprises for you? I mean, the heavy hitters, like all the guys that we kind of highlight as like being the rock guys, seem to be on those first couple of rows. Anything mixed up, or is this kind of, this is kind of how I saw it playing out halfway through?
You know, I'd expect to see Johnny, Stu, Jordan Ashburn both up there. You know, I'd expect to see Ricky Russell and Josh Toth a little bit further up there, but you know, Josh is visiting the series, not doing all the races, and Ricky's come back from a little bit of an injury, so you know that could be the case. But yeah, you know, all these top guys, all the top pros, you know, if you want to be a top pro, you have to be good in all conditions. So yeah, not really all that a surprise.
Let's talk about just the difference in GNC or in Snowshoe GNCCs over the last several years. Obviously, when we come to Snowshoe, first of all, it's usually maybe 20, maybe 30 degrees cooler. We've got rain, we've got mud. This year, throw all that out the window. It's been really hot. It's been dry, although there's still some mud, as there is Johnny Gerard making his way through. And who's on his heels?
Grant Baylor,
was that Grant? Grant right there.
Yeah, he's
from row 2. So got to think if he's within that 10-second window, he's going to have the first place position.
Yeah, he's definitely within that window, and I don't think Grant's going to settle for this.
No.
I think he's going to want to try to get out front physically and keep pulling away. He's obviously feeling it.
Good chart for him. There goes Stu Baylor right there, just a little bit further back from them. And but again, I guess back to the point, how do you kind of prepare for that? I mean, kind of a unique year here on the mountain.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think we've said it a few times, how it's drier than a lot of us have ever seen it. But, you know, kind of a lot of the same setup. You can get away with, I feel like, more tires as we have Jordan Ashburn coming through now. You know, in the past, a lot of guys are kind of contemplating, as we have Craig DeLong and Grant Davis battling here, contemplating running gummy tires, but with this dry conditions, I don't think there are too many gummy tires out there, so not many wheel swaps during the pits, and yeah, speeds are just going to be a lot higher.
That was kind of what I was getting at, one less thing to maybe worry about. This is the one race where if you're new to GNCC, hey, pit stop, we're getting fuel, we're getting rehydrated. That's pretty much it. Maybe a filter change once in a while.
Definitely. We'll have to
not
keep
uncommon.
Keep an eye on this battle here as
mistake.
Grant Baylor
right
might have stalled it or something behind that lapper.
Yeah.
Or he's yelling at the lapper.
Had some work for him.
Something going on there, but that's racing, and yeah, it's just how it goes.
Some struggles right there. He said, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming out and racing GNCC with us. I'm sure that's what was said as he was passing.
Yeah, you know, Johnny G's going to be thanking that lapper, whereas Grant Baylor's going to be yelling at him, but that's how it goes. Sometimes they help you, sometimes they hurt you.
Man, tough break. Hey, part of GNCC. But back to the point, sometimes it's not uncommon to see tire changes here. Don't expect that today. Grant back on the throttle. And Lapper's playing a bit of a factor here in the halfway point.
Yeah, he didn't lose too much time. He could still see Johnny G right there, so he doesn't need to get too worked up. Just get back focused on racing the track and charging back up to the rear wheel of Johnny and just reset and try to make that pass again.
Kind of seems like in some of those more wide open corners, it looks like Grant Baylor braking a little early and cutting underneath, whereas Johnny trying to run that wide line, maybe just trying to kick up some dust or what. But Baylor, you saw it right there in that last one, really knifing down and cutting underneath.
Yeah, it could have something to do with the tire choice. You know, we said Grant Baylor has that trials tire on the rear, whereas Johnny has the EN91, whereas Grant's tire is a lot softer. And that trials tire, man, it really doesn't have any side knobs, so you want to keep that bike straight up and down. So kind of makes sense to see him going sharper on the insides and getting his bike straight up and down as quick as he can, whereas Johnny can lean the bike over and arc the corners a little more.
This is why
I was about to say that we can't say that. That's why
that was like Brock Glover level right there. That was good.
Yeah, shout out to Dunlop there, but man, Grant's making it work on these fast sections. That trials tire that's meant to go 1 mile an hour.
Holy smokes.
He's not afraid to let that Babbitt's Kawasaki.
What kind of
wide open?
Obviously, it looks fast watching from the Yamaha Racing Live drone. What kind of speeds you guys running up these fire roads?
Oh, I'm sure they're in 60 miles per hour, high 60s or something like that. I can't remember.
No thanks.
We'll have to ask them. They got the GPS watches running so they could look back after the races.
That's going to be a hard pass from me. No, thank you. No hesitation on the blacktop, but no thanks in the woods. You guys are animals.
Yeah.
All the respect. So moving through here, Gerard and Grant Baylor putting on a show out in front. Stu Baylor just a bit ways back from them, trying to play a little catch-up. And Grant Baylor, man, it kind of got the vibe from him at the starting.
Is Grant Baylor in front of Johnny Gerard?
I was thinking that Baylor got around him in that one straightaway.
Grant could have passed him in that fast uphill straightaway we saw. Yep, there's Grant Baylor. So he is ahead of Johnny G and already has about 5 seconds or more. He is really letting it eat in these open sections. And
mercy.
That's what I've talked about a few times on this during this broadcast. These open sections, there's so much time to be made up if you just hang it out there, if you're willing to risk it.
Well, Grant obviously willing to risk it now, physically in front of Gerard. So new leader, Grant Baylor leading the way just over the halfway point. Now Gerard's got to reset.
Yeah, I was saying it earlier when you interviewed him on the start line. Grant Baylor was talking about how he's been close to winning here, and he seemed really excited, really motivated today, and we're seeing that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying we're taking a look at the Yamaha live drone. We were chatting with OPAG, making sure that we did see that pass. It was, I thought it was, I saw it was a KTM, but we couldn't quite tell. But yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, Baylor finding another gear on some of these faster sections.
Yeah, really stretching this thing out. And like Snowshoe, kind of like a tale of two sides, right? Each side of the mountain brings something a little different. Now we're into what looks like a normal GNCC we run.
Yeah, you know, Johnny Gerard definitely wants to get this win again, but for sure he's talked about the championships, his main focus, and Stu Baylor's the guy he's got to beat on in that aspect, and he's doing that now. So let's see, maybe he'll make one of those patented last lap charges that he's done at the last 2 rounds and catch back up to Grant, and we can have a battle to the finish as we see Stu Baylor now still coming through in 3rd place.
Stu Baylor on the island by himself. We saw that a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot of it yesterday on the 4-wheel side. That last lap, you know, it was Hunter Hart show all day long. And then the last lap, Bryson Neal put together an absolute heater, ended up taking that OA win as Jordan Ashburn buzzes past us at mile marker number 5. But yeah, maybe Gerard's got some of that in the tank. You know, we were talking yesterday, Bryson Neal, hey, he doesn't need the win. He's in control of the championship. But, Ben, you can attest to it. I think maybe sometimes when you're out there, the competitor in you just sort of takes over.
Yeah, you know, a lot of us guys have just too much pride to settle. It's just, that's just not in us. So every time you're lining up, you're trying to win the race, no matter the circumstances. As Grant Davis comes through now, still leading the fight in XC2. He actually has about a 3-minute lead over the 2nd place in XC2 of Josh Toth, and Thad Duvall's another 30 seconds behind him.
Mercy. So Grant putting on a heater for these guys. He was in the mix with DeLong. Did we miss DeLong?
DeLong, I don't think came through yet, so he must be in between Jordan Ashburn and DeLong. But starting on that front row is really suiting him.
Yeah, no doubt. He was. Hey, he was. I was trying to poke the bear a little bit, get some of the tea out of him. Maybe have him. Oh yeah, love it. There we go. Pardon me, says Johnny Gerard. Good pass right there around some lap traffic. But Grant Davis, you know, the young guys, sometimes they can say something to upset the old wily veterans. No, Grant was calm and collected, handled it well, and backing it up right here halfway at almost the 2-hour mark.
Yep. He's wanting to make friends out there. He's not
That's
trying
probably
to make any enemies.
Yeah, that's it.
Last thing you want to do
Plain
is
and smart.
Have those guys, a little distaste for you before you get to the XC1 class. But on the flip side, it's funny. We talk about Grant Davis feeling good and enjoying the fact that he was on that first starting row. Grant Baylor, on the other hand, talked about how excited he was. Obviously, he wished he was higher up in the points, but he said, honestly, I'm excited to see what I'm able to do with this 2nd row start. Obviously, he's making it work for him.
Yeah, it does. I can't tell if that's Craig Long or if that was a lapper there.
Yeah, he's got the red flag gear. We'll wait and see. We'll find out.
Johnny Gerard is back on the charge, reeling Grant Baylor in here. And yeah, you talked about Grant Baylor being excited to be on that 2nd row, and yeah, that's one of those things where, you know, you want to be top 5 in points, so you want to be on that 1st row, but in the off chance that you're not, being on the 2nd, 3rd, even 4th row at this race, you can use it to your advantage, and Grant is doing that.
So here we see Stu hanging back there in the 3rd place spot.
Heavy lap traffic in front of him too.
Yeah, luckily it's dry though. So I'm sure there's one main fast line, but as we saw Johnny G make the pass down this hill the previous lap, they'll have a lot easier time getting around lappers, I think, as long as they're not kicking too much dust up on the slopes.
Sure.
Jordan Ashburn.
Ashburn having a quiet day back there, just outside. Ashburn, one of those guys, well, he's one of the crazy dudes that probably wishes we had all of the rain in the mud coming into today. That's like his specialty.
Yeah, I think so.
Slick rock, like the guy's an animal. All the hard enduro stuff. Him and Toth, they always kind of stand out to me as those guys that you get in those conditions. Like, man, they're just monsters.
So it does look like Grant Davis had gotten around DeLong. We're waiting to see whether DeLong's still back there. And definitely looks like whatever the gap is has opened up as we're continuing to wait to see. I believe it'll either be Craig DeLong. There was DeLong. Okay, so he is still up and rolling.
But yeah, has definitely dropped considerably back.
So there you go. Shot of Craig rolling through. Grant Baylor doing his thing out in front, not just on the adjusted time, but physically making the pass. Look at the speed right here. That's what you call making a grown man move right there for the Grizzly, Grant Baylor. He said people call him sloth. I don't see it. I don't see it at all right now.
Slow out there.
He's hauling the mail. So can Grant Baylor hang on and grab a win here at Snowshoe? All that and more right after a message from our sponsors at the Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from Snowshoe, West by God, Virginia. Boy, the views just don't get much better than that. Absolutely gorgeous weather this weekend. It has been a little hot, I'm not going to lie to you, but nonetheless, a beautiful weekend to be GNCC racing right here before our summer break. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Ben Kelly, Zach Herron, Jackson Burrell out and about. Johnny Gallagher, probably at least listening or watching. We miss you, buddy. Hope you're doing all right. Safe travels. Been a great day. We've got Grant Baylor out in front. Grant Davis is doing his thing. Stu Baylor's in the mix. It has been an absolute gnarly race so far. Craig DeLong on the move, still in the fight. He's not out of it yet on that island by himself right now. But boy, prior to today's race, we got to catch up with Craig DeLong and the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team for a little rig tour.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Craig DeLong here, and we're going to take a tour of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Semi. Alright, so this is Jason, my mechanic.
How's it going?
He'll pull this engine out and then pull the swing arm off, all the suspension, to where it's just a bare frame. Yeah, scrub it, wash it, and then build it back up, put the engine back in, all the wiring, harness, and stuff like that, and then to where it's looks like a brand new bike, you know. All right, now let's take a look inside. So this is the inside of the truck. Just all the parts and nuts and bolts that we need on the weekend, and so they got enough parts and stuff to build three spare bikes if they need to, frames and engines and everything you can think of. Pretty much it's like a race shop on wheels. Yeah, let me take you upstairs and we'll show you the lounge. So we're here in the rider's lounge up front. And Anthony, our team manager, he'll come in here and do some work if he needs to. So we'll go upstairs here and check out the rest of it. So riders and stuff, we have our own cabinets too. So like I got my gear right here for, you know, upcoming races from Fly. And then, you know, Trevor and Corey, they have their lockers up here too. All right, so that's about it. You guys got work to do for the race this Sunday, and so do I. So thanks for checking out the rig, and stop by if you're here and get a poster. We'll see you.
I love it. I love the rig tour. It's always fun. Nice little kind of behind the scenes. Everybody's always curious. Now we know.
It's always cool because there's a lot of similarities, but then there's also like little differences that each one has as well. So really cool to see how each team puts their own spin and their own little twist on their rigs.
Somewhere in there, he didn't show. Craig's always like clockwork. I go down for the pre-race report. It's rice and chicken, like clockwork, big plate of it, and he always tells me, "No thanks, Mikey, I'm good." and then we talk anyways. So,
and then you text Jackson and I and say, sorry, you're going to have to keep talking.
Just keep talking. No breaks. No union breaks today. So, is what it is. We snuck them in right before the race today. I was talking to Ben about that as we wait on our leaders here at mile marker number 10 to Ben and Liam when I walked in. I said, when we've got to kill time, I'm like, there's two situations where I always feel awkward putting a mic in your face. One, you have a mechanical and you're in your pits. Two, on the start line, when you're focused on that race, starting those seconds feel like minutes. But hey, just like you guys, it's part of the job. That's just it's part of it. So we appreciate you guys taking a little time to powwow with us. We like that. Folks at home like it too. That's what it's about.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's tough, like you said, when you're trying to get focused and on the line, and you know, you're really only focused on one thing, it's like the start or the race. So you ask us a question, and that's why sometimes it's short and sweet, because we're just like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Johnny Gerard, he said, yeah, I'm ready. I'm like, nothing else? He's like, no. Okay, fair enough.
He's like, you just watch.
You just watch.
You watch.
Yeah, I'll let the riding do the talking. Here for it. Mile marker 10. just over the 2-hour mark in a 3-hour race. Arguably the gnarliest round of the year. Maybe not even arguably. What comes close to Snowshoe as far as like just being this demanding?
Like physicality-wise, you know, Florida's really tough. Obviously, John Penton, when it's wet and slippery and hot there in the summer, is also very tough. You know, this is definitely the rockiest race though, so it's unique. You know, we have a few other rockier rounds, but yeah, this one is definitely the most unique, especially with the hills. You know, your forearms end up getting more tight and cramped up at this race than any other. Just holding yourself up them hills.
It's interesting. Penton, I wouldn't have thought that, but then when you put it in perspective, is southeastern Ohio dirt? That like it's not dirt. It's not of this planet. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I mean, like if you've never been there, can't encourage you enough to go. And if it rains, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like walking around in like jars of peanut butter. Like it's slicker than ice, and it just sticks to everything.
Yeah, your 200-pound bike quickly becomes 300.
Absolutely.
3-hour race, and they always throw in the Penton section, which could be 4 miles of hilly single track. Some years it even looks like a hard enduro race with the mud and the creeks. They send you up in the hills. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the toughest.
We need to bring back the mulch pile at Penton.
Mulch pile. They're going to have to buy some more mulch.
Yeah, they need more mulch. That thing, I mean, it changes. You talk about like a GNCC course, still waiting on our leaders. Beautiful shot of West Virginia right there. But that's one of those that, like, we talk about how the track changes each lap. That mulch section changes every second. Every rider that goes through it changes for the next guy. It was always one of my fun ones, or favorite ones to watch.
Yeah, you know, mulch is one of those things that a lot of track owners add to their motocross tracks, you know, to hold in moisture, and yeah, it forms some huge braking bumps and acceleration bumps. So it was always a good, exciting section at the John Penton, especially it being like a 180 U-turn, you know, coming in fast off the fields. So yeah, you know, sometimes they have that section at Ironman even.
Right, yeah,
behind the start they have the mulch and some gravel. They send us up sometimes even over some logs, but yeah, it's always cool when they do those unique little things where opens up good opportunity for passing and a good spot for a camera shot and for the fans to watch.
Here we go, a little split lane action for you right here, and is this our leaders?
I believe so. Still Grant Baylor out front. Johnny G just breathing in that dust, kicking his legs off, probably not being able to judge the track as good with being a little bit blinded by that dust. But he's definitely not giving up. The second Grant passed him, I think he picked up the pace a little bit. He knew Grant was on the move.
So Gerard right now, if you're in Gerard's shoes, you know, hey, points lead coming into today. Grant Baylor, not the guy you're necessarily competing for the championship with. Do you kind of hang back there and, hey, I'm going to hang back. I need to keep Grant close. Maybe he makes a mistake. I get around him. Or do you really push the issue?
I think you push the issue enough to stay. Oh, as Grant has a nice save there coming onto the asphalt. But if I was Johnny, I'd be pushing hard enough to stay on the rear wheel of Grant and, yeah, trying to make the pass maybe on the last lap. Maybe have a spot picked out, but you don't want to wait too long. Because things happen to where you could make a mistake and Grant could pull away a little. So, yeah, you want to just stay on his wheel and definitely go for that win. Obviously, don't ride recklessly, but go for that win.
Grant looking good. A little splash of water. And Gerard right there following suit.
Yep. Looked like Stu Baylor was maybe just coming down the other side. As we watch Johnny Gerard cutting through the woods here.
And watching now, Stu Baylor making his way through as well. Looked like he was pointing at something on the helmet there.
A couple gestures, maybe yelling at Grant's girlfriend there to give me some water, throw some water on my back. Getting late in this race, and we talked about the hot weather. It's going to start taking its toll on these guys.
Yeah, something we're not used to. You mentioned the Penton and the heat. Penton now in the fall this year, a little change up there. But Mother Nature was like, you guys have had enough of the rain and the mud and the cold temperatures. So Snowshoe kind of throwing something maybe unexpected with the heat this weekend. I mean, it's hot. I mean, we're knocking on the door, what, 80s? mid-80s?
Got to be close at least, especially yesterday. I feel like today we've been a little nicer with the cloud cover.
Cloud coverage helped, yeah.
Luckily, we're up in the mountains about, what, 5,000 feet? I'm sure it's 15 to 20 degrees cooler up here than it is down at the base and in the town.
So taking a look now, we saw Grant really stretching it out on some of these faster sections, but that last little short shoot, Johnny actually, I think, closed in just a little bit. We'll see what happens here. We've obviously got a lap rider up in the mix as well.
Well, that was one of those situations. I saw the post by Walker Fowler talking about good opportunity for a PSA right here of, hey, when you hear the pro riders coming, I can guarantee you everybody knows when it's an XC1 guy behind them. Hold your line if you can't get out of the way. Just hold your line. The pro rider will be able to make the pass. That was almost a good example of that right there. As Grant kind of had to left, right. Which way you going, buddy?
Yeah, definitely hold your line. It could be tough, you know. We have some sympathy for you because you got to swerve out there for them big rocks. You'll be coming in at 50, 60 miles an hour, and there'll be a big rock. You're swerving back and forth. But, yeah, do your best to hold your line, and we'll do the same. And, yeah, try to keep everyone safe.
It's end up a very gnarly situation right there. Almost looks silty through there.
Yeah, we're surprised at how big the silt berms have built up in a lot of these corners. You know, a lot of these corners across the mountain are off camber, though, so everyone kind of slides into the outside and just pushes that dirt away. As we see the white flag coming out.
Ricky Towery waving the white flag. Grant Baylor checking in. Physically in the lead over Johnny Gerard, the 969, and waiting on Stu Baylor. See when he checks in how much further back he is from those boys.
Yeah, but like we said, Grant Baylor started on the second row, so he's got about, I don't know, what is it, 8 to 10 second deficit. So Johnny Gerard, if he wants this win, he's not only going to have to pass Grant, he's going to have to get about 10 seconds to be comfortable.
So, man, Grant really stretching it out right there as Stu Baylor checking in, getting the white flag from Ricky Towery. He heads out for one more lap.
Stu Baylor's 40 seconds now behind.
We got to hand it to Stu. He's not been super public about the many injuries. I mean, it's a laundry list for the man right now. But his ability to kind of push through the pain is just, it's astronomical how he can do that and kind of set it aside. And I just kept waiting, and I even said it to him prior to the race. You know, the moment we say, he's out, there's no chance, he goes out and proves us wrong. He's doing that right now, maintaining that top three. You know, he certainly wants to be in front of Gerard, but hanging in there for a podium as here comes a hard charging, riding with a sense of urgency, Jordan Ashburn getting the white flag.
Yeah, Jordan, another 43 seconds there, back behind Stu. And, yeah, you mentioned Stu having a few little injuries there. I think, you know, that's off-road racing and a long season and racing multiple series. A lot of these guys probably have little nagging injuries, and it's tough. You know, it's something I dealt with last year. And like you said with Stu, like, he's still battling for wins and podiums, but he's probably not feeling the best because of those injuries. So it's tough, you know, mentally. You're like, man, if I was just healthy, that's a good point. You're still doing so good that, like, a lot of people probably have no idea.
Yeah. I brought this up with Johnny Gallagher last week as Grant Davis had checked in there. Davis now back in the number 5 position? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, again, watching, we'll see if we can get some more pros through the finish line here. But something I brought up early in the show with Johnny Gallagher last week, I'm a big NBA fan. I won't divulge into that too much. I know I'm not speaking to people that really care. But nonetheless, there was a point made in the NBA championship. One of the young players was speaking to the veteran players like, man, I'm sore. I'm tired. The veteran player who'd been there before, won a championship, said, you're supposed to be. That's what it's about, this grind. Snowshoe's kind of that for us, where at this point in the season, pick a name out of the top 20 right now, probably the top 200, and everybody has got some kind of nagging injury if they're racing with us all season. No one is 100% right now.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. Dirt bike racing is a super physical sport, and you know, you might not think of it as a full contact sport, but it is. You know, you're banging around on your bike, and even sometimes you're banging off the trees in the ground. Happens more often than you want. So, yeah, your body takes a toll.
So big gaps. This is something I kind of expected to see yesterday on the ATV side. Obviously, Grant Baylor, Johnny Gerard very close out in front. But nonetheless, thought we would see big gaps with it being dustier. Thought that would spread everybody out a little bit. We're seeing some of that today, not so much yesterday. Not the case with Grant Baylor and Johnny Gerard. And, hey, speaking of Grant Baylor, let's show him some more love. Had a chance to catch up with him a little bit more prior to today's race.
Snowshoe is a good track. It's one of my favorites. It's gotten a lot easier over the years. A lot of access roads we run now, but like I said before, I love anything technical, and it's up there was one of the most technical rounds of the year, between it and the one at the Girl Scout camp in Beckley. But yeah, it's a good track. It's a lot of fun, and one of those races where you kind of gotta just worry about surviving as well and getting the bike through the race and yourself, because there's a lot of fast, super sketchy roads where we're going literally as fast as the bike will go for over a minute straight. I mean, you know, you're hanging on for your dear life for a minute straight, going 80 mile an hour down a road with rocks on it. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors in Snowshoe just to make it through the race. So that's the main goal there, is to get through it and hope for a good result. So I usually seem to do well there, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, the Snowshoe start, that's really cool. And for me, you know, we all know I can't get off the line, so I need that start more often. I might have to throw in a petition to see if we can get that going for every round. That way I can at least be top 5 off the line, you know. But no, I mean, that's really cool there, getting to start on the road on the blacktop with all the fans lined up down either side of you, and the live engine start and everything. That's really cool. It definitely gets you pumped up more than the average start of a GNCC. You know, and you get to do the rider introductions, kind of wheelie up the road right there in between all the spectators and everything, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So.
Love it. Getting some perspective right there from Grant Baylor. Waiting on our leaders to check in here to the Monster Energy Monster Mile, or known locally here as Howard's Hole. We were looking at timing and scoring while we were waiting on these guys. A few things developing there. Looks like Craig DeLong still not checked in. So Josh Toth around him, Evan Smith, Dante Oliveira as well. And has DeLong checked in yet? Yes. Okay, so DeLong is in now, but boy, drops a few positions. So tough break for Craig DeLong. So mile marker 2, Howard's Hole, waiting on our leaders. Looking for the grizzly sloth of Grant Baylor. Self-proclaimed. He said, that's my spirit animal, the sloth. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. Not with the speed he's hauling down fire roads.
Maybe when he's off the bike, but not when he's on it. Then we have Josh Strang there, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, so Strang checking in. There you go. Top 10 in. 4 laps complete. Be a 5-lap race when it's all said and done. 2:17 into it. Looking for the 314 Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki of Grant Baylor. And how close will the 969 be? Here we go. It's right there.
This section, this Howard's Hole section, and even though it's dry, it's still getting chewed up more and more each lap. As they're paddling their way there. Lap rider,
yeah,
pretty good.
He said, hey, you boys got the good line. I'll tuck in right behind you. And back to the battle. Grant Baylor leading Johnny Gerard. Gerard, as you guys had mentioned, if he wants to win, he's got to get around Baylor, and he's going to have to put a gap on him as well. Going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, we'll see. Johnny's been really smart this year with his racecraft. Obviously grew a lot last year being his rookie XC1 season. So we'll see. Maybe he has Grant right where he wants him.
Yeah. Very possible. Hey, it's what we saw yesterday on the ATV side as Stu Baylor checks in now, the 514. Looks like Stu may have chipped away at that a bit. I think it was, well, 40 seconds from row 1. So with Grant, you got to consider, what, 48, maybe 50 seconds back from. So Stu charging hard. He got the white flag, and I think Stu sees red when he sees the white flag, not the white flag necessarily. Hauling. And Stu on the island by himself right now, man. Nobody on that rear wheel of Stu Baylor.
Yeah, tough spot to be, seeing as he can't see the leaders, but lucky for him, there's no one too close behind him.
So we're waiting, expecting the number 3, that Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Jordan Ashburn. And there he is. Give a shout out to Coastal Racing. Talon Hawk has left the hospital. He's doing well. For those who didn't know, had a gnarly little crash yesterday here on the mountain. So say hello to our buddy Talon. Hope you're doing better, bud. Good to hear you're in good spirits. And on the mend, Jordan Ashburn, the Coastal Racing rider, doing well out here for the team. As there goes Grant. Man, Grant Baylor. So all that work Johnny Gerard putting in to get up to that rear wheel of Grant Baylor. Grant stretching it out in these big open sections.
Funny to see him tiptoeing around that corner right there. It must be really slippery with the hard pack and the dust on top.
Let's get into some blue groove. Let's get real into it here. Baylor on the outside right there. There is Gerard following suit. 1 and 2 right now. Looking real good for Grant Baylor. He'll duck back into the woods, watching for the Yamaha Racing live drone. Well, who do you want to be in this situation, Ben? You want to be Gerard in the 2 spot with the points lead, kind of, hey, I'll take it if I can get it, or you want to be Grant out front?
I'd like to have the points lead for sure, but
right.
I'd like to be Grant out front.
It's a trick question.
Yeah, definitely like to be Grant. I mean, Johnny's not in a bad spot, but yeah, it's just Grant coming through with the momentum, and he's managing the race right now. You know, Johnny's not going to make it easy on him, but yeah, Johnny still has the tough task of making the pass.
Everybody wants the coveted snowboard. That's what it's all about. How many do you have? You've got at least one,
I got
right?
2.
Two.
Just
That's
2
right.
of them. Yeah.
He said
cool
just
2. Cool longboard from the XC2 days too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, 2 overall wins here for me.
Heck yeah. We talk about the king of the mountain, you know, with like Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, that debate. Do you guys have that debate on the bike side?
I don't.
We're gonna have to look at the history books.
I'm sure Stu and Caleb have those types of debates.
Yeah.
Whether it's king of the mountain, king of Florida, king of wherever.
Yes.
King of kings.
Wherever it may be. We're going to have to look back in the history books. Who's got the most snowshoe wins? I don't know that we've got that in our cheat sheet. Yeah. It's okay. We'll find out. We'll do some digging. Grant Baylor trying to throw his name in the hat in that conversation. Grizzly kicking up dust right there. Let's make it difficult for Johnny Gerard.
I mean, he is absolutely letting that Babbitt's Kawasaki eat up on the rear wheel.
That is gnarly. Just to roll through there with the speed, no vision. He's just, you can't see anything, just hauling. Just kind of trusting it's almost muscle memory for you guys at this point.
Yeah, you go off feel. That's why you want your front forks to be just plush enough to not come out of your hands.
So watching Baylor on hand here, as looks like he has stretched it out just a little bit over Gerard in those last couple of sections. And once again, just like you were talking about, Ben, trying to keep that bike straight up and down, tucks underneath on that corner. Definitely got to be feeling good about his tire choice and the way he's got things set up right now. That thing looks to be handling great.
Yeah, that's a tire I've never experimented with, but Liam said that it seems to last quite well. We'll have to see how his tire looks compared to Johnny Gerard's at the end of the day. You know, the EN91 has some smaller knobs. So, I mean, that's less knob to wear out. So at this point, you know, his tire's going to be ripped apart, but for the most part, everyone's tire is ripped apart. You get late in the race like this with all these rocks, and even those high-speed sections on the ski slope, a lot of braking just wears your tire down. So it's going to be tough, but their lap times have been staying pretty consistent regardless.
Good point. Mile marker 5, last lap. White flags out if you're just tuning in on Racer TV. Grant Baylor leading the way. Johnny Gerard trying to keep pursuit. And Stu Baylor in that number 3 spot. trying to keep pace with these boys. And there he is, the 514 of Stu Baylor, who, boy, as we mentioned, kind of on that island by himself out there in Ashburn. Well, he's on a bit of an island as well. Grant Davis still having a solid day, sitting in a P5. And Toth kind of turning it on late. Obviously some troubles for Craig DeLong as he dropped a few positions last time he checked in. So Toth now the new owner of that 6th place position. Evan Smith having a solid day in 7th. And Dante Oliveira back. Now, will this be the last time we see Dante this season?
I believe so.
Okay.
Seeing as he's over here filming.
Yeah.
If everything goes to plan, I'll be back after summer break. But it's been cool to have Dante coming over to the East Coast. Even got himself a win.
He did.
Impressive. And
yes, he did.
Yeah, just battling up front. These conditions definitely aren't what he's used to, being from California, from NorCal, and racing, you know, NGPC and Works and all those series out there, but still holding his own and proving that he's one of the best riders in America and the world.
Yeah, absolute. The guy's, he's special. There's no doubt about that.
As we saw Grant Baylor and Johnny G just coming down through, still both of them looking very aggressive.
So pushing hard. Last lap, 2:25 into it. Next time they check in, they'll be getting that checkered flag from Ricky Towery. We'll be getting some words from Grant Baylor. Knock on wood. See. Anything can happen. Seen crazier things. Gerard still in the 2 spot. Honestly, Gerard, when we look at the championship, Gerard doing exactly what he needs to do. Whether he wins today or he takes 2nd place, the man he needs to finish in front of, Stu Baylor, as of right now, he's doing just that.
Yeah, it's looking like a really good race for Johnny, and he's going to be going into summer break sitting pretty.
Here they come.
Look at this lap traffic deep in front of him.
See, maybe Johnny can use some of these lappers to slingshot his way by Grant, but Grant knows he's there and must be able to hear him taking his look back there on the road.
He said, is that a lapper tailing me? No way. Nope, it is not. It's still Johnny Gerard. I've not shaken this man.
Yeah, I think Stu mentioned that he wasn't sure at the last round that Johnny Gerard was that close to him when he caught up to him and made the pass, so Grant's making sure to not make that same mistake.
Good point.
I got to think it's go time for Gerard as well. We're almost halfway through this final lap, and like we talked about, not only does he have to physically get around him, he's got to put 8 to 10 seconds between himself and Baylor. So kind of running out of time here with only 6-7 miles left.
Yeah, this section of the track too, after the 6, gets pretty rocky. Some of the more technical stuff. They have some clay sections, so we have Stu Baylor still coming through in 3rd. They're going to keep going all the way down the mountain here. Into some clay sections and then into some really technical rock gardens before they start heading back up on kind of some more of those fire roads that are still really rocky, windy up the hills. So there's plenty of opportunity to pass. You just got to make sure you're on that guy's wheel and yeah, maybe try to carry some more momentum up the hills, or maybe we'll see pass up the cart roads on the ski mountains right before the finish where Johnny made that pass on Stu earlier in the race.
He's going to have to haul, man. Grant has just been so fast up those.
Yeah, if I were Johnny, I would be trying to make the pass before I got to that section.
Makes sense.
Try to make the pass in the woods, in the rocks, seeing as Grant made a pass on you on the fire roads earlier in the race, and yeah, seems to be going the fastest out of the crew. Plus, that's right before the finish, man. You want to try to get this pass done sooner than later. Yep. And then when you get to that open section, if you are in front of Grant, man, give it all you got and block the line.
Going to be a good one coming down to the wire, hopefully between Grant Baylor and Johnny Gerard. See a little mano-y-mano there. It goes Jordan Ashburn. Still on the move. Man, gaps between Baylor, Ashburn. But what can you do? I mean, it's just that's how it's played out today.
It's still a technical track, even though it's dry. I thought that maybe the guys would be a lot closer together. Yeah. But there's definitely still plenty of technicality out there and separation, and yeah, it's just a long race, man. This one grinds you down.
It does.
Well, we saw this earlier today in the WXC class as well. Rachel Archer, when she came around on lap 1, the 36-second gap just on the first lap, and then that continued to grow between the entire top 3. And so definitely seems like, not sure exactly what the cause is, but sure enough, riders definitely start gapping out between one another as the race wears on.
Show some love to some of these other guys out there. Nick DeFeo, he talked about being that top amateur guy out there, and lining up to a dude like Josh Strang. Love the question you had, Zach, with Ben and Liam. And I was almost going to be like, they're both going to say Caleb. And sure enough, you guys did. That's okay.
Spoiler.
The GOAT. But, hey, it was really cool. And Nick DeFeo doing really well. Still sitting top 13 or in 13th place right now for T-Rex. So he's having a solid day.
Yeah, Jason Tino back there in the 17th place spot as well. Another one of those riders. Believe he is on the one of the ISDE teams as well. And so it'd be exciting to him. Obviously, he's got some good stuff going his way and really seems to be putting a program together.
So waiting, hurry up and wait. Mile marker 6. Grant Baylor leading the way, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. There's
Lightning Mike Holbert there making his way through.
That's a
open face helmet, even with all the rocks. It's a man's man right there.
That is a man's man. I think that was Zachary Davidson right there, one of our amateur riders. So Grant Baylor leading, Johnny Gerard in the 2 spots, Stu Baylor back in 3rd. Big gaps back there between 3rd and 4th. Jordan Ashburn, and then Grant Davis sitting in a top 5 position right now, and obviously leading that XC2 class with Toth behind him in 6th. Evan Smith having a solid day in the number 7 spot. Dante Oliveira in the 8th position. Craig DeLong, tough break for him mid-race. Not sure what happened there, but drops a few positions. Still trying to make the best of it. Last we knew in 9th, and Strang rounding out that top 10. So Grant Baylor, the Grizzly, the sloth in his own words. I love that, the Grizzly sloth. Someone make a picture of Grant Baylor as a Grizzly sloth. It's like Man Bear Pig, but cooler, okay? And then Johnny Gerard in that number 2 spot. But boy, last time we saw him, Gerard all over the rear wheel of Grant Baylor. Will it come down to the fire roads? Will we have a mano-a-mano, wheel-to-wheel battle down to the finish? Gerard's got to make the pass and put a gap on. Can he make it happen? Or will the Grizzly hang on for his 4th career overall win? We'll be right back after this.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
All right, taking a look at some old school highlights of where it all began. The Blackwater 100. Back when three-wheelers were still a thing. We love
like
that.
Howard's Hole down
We're
there.
here for it. Yeah, it's just basically, if you like Howard's Hole, well, go to the Blackwater 100 back in the day, and that's pretty much what it was all about. Oh, yeah.
Or Iron Man Hill.
Or Iron Man Hill.
In front of the quads and dragging them down.
This is when, Ben Kelly, this is when men were men. No doubt. Mark Hyde is still with us out here, helps out with KTM support. He is a Blackwater 100 champion himself. Yeah, so much history. This is where it all started right here. And I love that. And just, like any sport, like the trajectory of the athletes as well as the machines is just absolutely incredible. And, yeah, that's just a great example. And it was all like trial and error back then, right? I mean, and then we take a look back at 2023. Who is that 530 machine out there? Taking a look at 2023 GNCC. There is
Jordan Ashburn.
I almost said Craig. I saw the one,
Baylor,
but no.
Grant Baylor.
You?
Yeah.
So Baylor on the move. Ashburn was rocking that number 1 plate, and that's more like what we're used to seeing here at Snowshoe.
Yeah, I remember Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor got out front early and put a bit of a gap on the field.
Man, that's like Baylor heavy right there. Baylor looking like he packed on a few for this one. And, oh, man, forgot all about this.
The wheel swaps.
The wheel swaps. That was something we talked about, something we're used to seeing at Snowshoe. How'd that guy do?
Yeah, I did all right.
Did all right? That was good. That was good. Hey, one little dab right at the end, baby. That was good. That was good. This has got to make it like... That feels good, right, Ben? Come on, man. And it also probably makes you a little bitter, like, God, I wish I was out there right now.
Yeah, it definitely does. That year especially,
There it is. Top 3, it was Johnny Gerard, it was Ben Kelly getting that coveted snowboard, and, boy, Jordan Ashburn rounding out the box. But I think Ashburn was second. Or was it maybe Gerard was second? I don't remember. It was flip-flopped. I didn't look close enough to find out. But, boy, what a difference to go from the Blackwater 100 all the way to Snowshoe. Like I was saying, the advancement of just like the machines and the athletes, like everything is so dialed. And, we talk about, like, after today, we go into, quote, summer break. I think that's summer break for maybe some of the amateur riders. You guys are working. You're working your butts off. Same with our staff.
Johnny Gerard up in front of Grant Baylor here as they're getting really close to the finish at mile 10.
So pass has been made. Gerard has gotten around. So you've got a new physical leader. Now the question is, can Johnny Gerard put a gap on Grant Baylor? As Grant Baylor was a Row 2 rider, he is going to have the advantage of that time adjustment. And obviously, Johnny knows that. He absolutely knows that.
And they're going to be popping out into the FMF PowerPoint, coming through the pits. And at that point, once they leave the pits, a couple small little wood sections, they'll drop down the PowerPoint again onto the road. And from there, it's pretty much kart road the rest of the way back.
Let's go.
Yeah, Johnny's going to have to open it up. And as for Grant, he's going to have to just stay on that wheel as best he can. But lucky for Grant, he doesn't have to make the pass. So just get right there. Get as close as you can.
So we'll see if Grant is able to stay on the rear wheel of Johnny Gerard. Big test. I'm looking forward to seeing him up the roadside. Grant was the guy that seemed to really let it hang out there. Yep. And that was just a quick, was that Stu right there, right at the last second. So here we go, up the FMF PowerPoint. This is a gnarly section. We talk about Howard's Hole. I've been to this section, and this is tough.
Yeah. When it's wet, it's extremely tough, but even now in this dust, I'm sure it's still slippery. You see, you got all these bumps, so you want to give it a bunch of momentum, but you almost can't jump too high because you'll lose it all when you drop back down, so you're constantly pressing your wheels back to the ground, trying to get that traction.
So Johnny Gerard out in front, trying to put a gap on Grant Baylor to hang on for the win. Grant Baylor, well, trying to do the same thing. This is a mano-a-mano battle right there.
Let's see, a little bit of a gap here. We'll see if these lappers play any role. It's going to be tough for Grant to make a pass.
Grant got to check up just a little bit right there. Loses a little bit of time as these guys are going to be rolling down the pro pits.
Grant can still see him, though.
Yeah, still in sight as they are buzzing past KTM
and cheering on Johnny. I'm sure we'll have the Kawasaki team cheering on Grant.
Oh, heck yeah.
In a second.
Babbitt's cheering their man on. Go get him. And around the back they go. Still Gerard out in front. We need Johnny Gallagher here with the stopwatch.
Yeah, I wish I knew exactly how much time Grant started behind.
Yeah, good point. It looks like right at about 4 seconds right there. So not quite enough. Continue monitoring that. There goes Gerard. There goes Baylor. No lappers at least in sight right now. Maybe a couple up there. Oh, I stand corrected. Never mind. Just kidding.
Looks like he's getting out of the way for Grant. Maybe these guys are happy they're not going to have to do another lap.
Yeah, that's it. I had to laugh last week. What was it? A couple when Stu grabbed the win. I just did the voiceover for it, and he let a rider that he was definitely going to pass. He looked at him. He's like, "You want another one?" The guy,
I think
go
it
ahead,
might
buddy.
have been Alex Luger, a guy that.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh no! Oh, big mistake right there by Grant Baylor.
That could be just enough. We will see. He was charging down that hill.
Oh, man, big mistake by Baylor. Now he's going to be riding like an absolute wild man now, trying to catch back up. Oh, interesting. Just got word on the radio. Sounds like maybe that was Hollywood with the report. Sounds like Grant Baylor, no rear brakes. So that would kind of explain the slide right there.
Yeah, luckily, man, even in that corner, we'll see as he comes into the finish. Luckily, he's on a 4-stroke, so he can use that engine brake and just, man, go as fast as you can. Hard on that front brake and just shift down through the gears.
So Grant not giving up, still charging hard. Gerard not in the shot. Where's this?
I believe that's a lap rider, so you can't see Gerard.
So Gerard definitely putting the gap on now. And, you know, Gerard's got no idea. All he knows is, hey, I don't see him behind me. I think I'm good. But it's still kind of that guessing game. He's got no idea.
Yeah, Johnny shouldn't lay up. I mean, whether Grant had his brakes or not, he's still super close, and he had that time buffer, so Johnny needs to just be going as fast as he can. And, man, still don't see him in this shot, so he may have enough time on Grant. We will have to wait and see.
So Gerard doing what he needed to do, made the pass on Grant Baylor. A couple of small mistakes by Grant Baylor, but hey, call it what it is, mechanical issue as well. And there is Gerard bringing it in. Gonna see Ricky Towery with the checkered flag, bang, and he looks over his shoulder. Yep. He wants to know, is the man coming through?
Who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see.
Well, all right, man. So Gerard for the moment.
And Grant 11.9 seconds back, which might on corrected time mean that Johnny won by about 1.9 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Go. Congratulations to Johnny Gerard. Hell of a fight by Grant Baylor. A fist bump by two men that are absolutely winded. And what was kind of, honestly, this is kind of a low-key race. We had the great battle out front. Boy, you can see in the body language by Grant, you know, we might be saying a few of the HBO words right there. But ended up being a crazy last lap, a crazy finish.
Yeah, Grant, even though Grant ended up second, man, he had a killer race. He can't be too hard on himself. Obviously, he's going to be, all of us racers are, especially when you do everything right and lose it right at the end. But, man, if it was no rear brakes, he could still hang his hat high. And it's one of those things where the mud and tough off-road racing is hard on equipment.
That's an exhausted Grizzly right there, as he will take a water bath. Absolutely covered in the dust. Team manager there, Fred Andrews, down there talking with Grant. Timmy from KTM over there with his man. And we'll be getting those post-race interviews set up here in just a moment. Well, it's a wild finish. Johnny Gerard absolutely sending it on the last lap. Been keeping an eye on our scoring computer.
Yeah, it ended up Johnny Gerard, I think, made up. His last lap was just over 32 minutes. I think the prior one was about 32:50 or something along those lines. And even Grant's last lap was 32:20, which was consistent with his previous lap. So, man, those guys were really picking it up.
Hauling on the last lap. Ricky Towery down there waving the checkered flag, waiting to get those post-race interviews set up. And do we have third place in yet? Hadn't seen Stu Baylor on Racer TV. We know there was a pretty good gap right there. Think Stu's going to be good as long as he can keep her on two wheels to hang on to that second-place finish.
Yeah, I think the fact that Grant and Johnny were together going for that win, they really pushed each other that last lap, whereas Stu was kind of in no man's land, and he can just ride it in for third.
So waiting on Baylor, getting our post-race. See Zach Herron down there hobbling with the crutches. Absolute unit down there getting the job done still. Jackson Burrell down there waiting. And is this our man? That looked like Stu right there sneaking in for a third-place finish. So Stu Baylor checks in the number 3 spot. Tough day for Stu, but all things considered, good day, grabbing a podium. But, boy, still, the man he needs to beat finished in front of him.
Yep, definitely. Man, because Stu is still being super consistent, being on the podium majority of these races. Johnny's just staying consistent and having slightly better finishes, so he's continuing to grow his points lead.
Stu taking off the helmet right there, and never at a loss for words. Looking forward to the interview with Stu Baylor. A little small smile out of him right there, having some fun. It is Snowshoe after all.
Yeah, looks like Jordan Ashburn just coming through now for 4th overall.
So Ashburn hanging on for 4th place just off of the box. The number 3 Coastal Racing Factory gas ride. And sounds like Zach Herron is ready with our winner, Johnny Gerard.
It was a battle of the Baylors today. You battled with Stu early, then Grant came up. You guys were battling back and forth. Then it came down to the stopwatch. Obviously, Grant there on row number 2. You made the pass, but you knew you had to get at least 8 to 10 seconds in front of him. What were you telling yourself there on that last half a lap?
Man, I knew. I turned around at like the 9-10 mile marker, and he was right on me. And I'm like, man, there's a little bit of ski slope, and the dust is in my advantage. And man, I pinned it down there a lot faster than I wanted to. And yeah, I came down to a second, man. That was a good race. And about, I don't know, 2.5 laps ago, I think Grant came by me like I was standing still, and I was like, holy cow, I gotta get going. And latched onto him, and we were ripping, and he lost his brakes and made a couple mistakes. I was able to sneak by, and yeah, I knew it was go time, man. That was gnarly. I'm tired.
I bet so, man. Mikey Wade in the pre-race interview asked how you were feeling. You said one word: good. Riding matched it, man. A drier snowshoe than what you're accustomed to. What did you think about the conditions you guys had to face this year?
Yeah, man, it was fast and technical. It took a lot of physical energy. A lot different than what I'm used to, and a lot faster, high speed, and the stuff kicked you a lot faster, and it was a lot more abrupt, so you had to be paying attention at all times. Got a couple wild kicks, hit the ground once, but other than that, it was a good race.
Hey, you got a points lead, man. You extend it once again, and you go into the summer break with a win. How good does that feel?
Feels good. Feels good.
There it is, guys. Good from top to bottom, start to finish. Johnny Gerard, your XC1 winner.
Well, there you go. Johnny Gerard grabbing another win here in 2024. And looking good. Like, honestly, another day at the office for him.
Yeah, solid race for Johnny. We've seen these lap pushes out of him the last few races, so it's good to see. And yeah, he really broke down the dry conditions here at Snowshoe, saying how it was very tough, very physical, and man, you could see it in all these guys' faces that, yeah, just goes to show that, man, 3 hours of GNCC off-road racing is hard.
Understatement. Jackson Burrell standing by with Grant Baylor.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with your second place, Grant Baylor. Grant, you were absolutely flying today. We saw you in the lead several times. Take us through your race.
Oh, man, I'm just freaking frustrated now. Yeah, man, that was a heck of a race. I got out off the line first on my row there, and caught up to that front row, guys, and rode behind Craig for about a lap there, and then second lap I was picking my way through the pack and got around Craig and Grant Davis and Jordan there, and then freaking went down and fell under my bike and was pinned under the bike, and all three of those guys caught back up and went by me, and I just caught up to the leaders there. I could see Stewart and Johnny, and yeah, I made that mistake and got back behind those guys, had to pass them again, and then as soon as I got by those guys again, I went down again, and then Jordan got by me again, so I had to pass Jordan again. All on that same lap, I passed Jordan 3 times and passed those other guys twice, and yeah, man, I was just feeling it. It was a good day. It just a bummer. About a lap and a quarter to go there, I lost my rear brakes, and just had front brakes there that last lap, just freaking hanging on for dear life. I knew if I could just keep Johnny behind me in some of this slower technical stuff where it was more one line, I'd be good, and then just dust him out here in the open stuff. But made a little mistake not having rear brakes. I kind of missed the track and went off the hill a little ways, and Johnny got by me and was able to regroup, catch back up to him, and then yeah, I was right behind me going through the freaking pits there, and then coming out of the pits, washed the front end, and then yeah, lost the front end right before the FMF PowerPoint going back down the hill there. Picked the bike up, jumped back on it, started heading down the hill. No rear brakes, man. I was just sending it, and I knew I just wrecked, so I knew I had to just finish within 10 seconds of Johnny, and yeah, I sent it down that hill straight off the end of the FMF hill. Luckily, there was a power pole there. I would have kept going all the way to the bottom of the mountain. And I ended up hitting a girl and a guy there. You know, sorry to those guys. I was doing all I could to get stopped there. But, yeah, I heard I sent the girl rolling down the hill, so that's a bummer. But, man, I gave it my all and really just sent it all the way to the finish and came up just barely short. But, yeah, man, I'm just absolutely gutted after that.
Well, congratulations on the finish. We're heading into the summer break and then into round number 10. After second place here today, how you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling good. Yeah, just been struggling with a knee injury since round 1. I didn't even go down at round 1. Just lost my foot off the peg there and messed up my knee, and just been struggling with that a little bit all season. And then right there before High Point, I ended up going down practicing and messed it up real bad again, even worse than I did the first time. So this last month or so, I've just kind of been on the mend, and I wasn't really sure how today was going to go, with it being, you know, more of a stand-up track. And man, it was really good. I'm pretty pumped with how it went, and yeah, just keep making progress, keep moving forward.
All right, guys, that's Grant Baylor.
So, tough break for Grant. One of those situations where, yeah, he was right there. He was in position, little mechanical, the no rear brakes, and that gave us a perspective, kind of explained it right there. That's how Johnny applying the heat, but the brakes, rear brakes or no rear brakes coming into play for Grant Davis, able to get Gerard around him, or Gerard was able to get around him. All right, now we've got our third place finisher standing by with Jackson Burrell, Stu Baylor.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Stu Baylor. Stu, looked like your bike was beat up, man, when you came in. Take us through your race here today.
Man, we had a good day going. Just a couple mistakes there, and ended up on my head a few times, and it was just I think a bad call on some setup stuff. You know, this track was not normal snowshoe. It was extremely high speed and very little technicality to it. So I think I probably should have stuck with just normal settings, but tried softening things things up, and it was good, but where it wasn't, it was really bad. So, yeah, like on the rocky side, we were going pretty good over there, especially like the Howard's Hole, the gnarly stuff over here. I felt really good, and I was trying to play that dust game, keep a little bit of dust in between me and the other guys, and I was working out, and then I ended up on my head. Johnny went by on the road bed. I got him back in Howard's, and then had a pretty big one, ended up on my head, and after that, the bike was all twisted up, ripped apart, and from there it was just trying to do what we could. I started to close the gap there on the last lap, got a few seconds into those guys, and was giving it everything I had, and I ripped my foot peg off. So it was just kind of one of those days, one thing after another. But man, it was fun. I'm glad to be back here on the podium, and it's a hell of a day for Kawasaki. I think we've got podium in XC2, 2 podiums in XC1. Obviously, we got an A rider over here, so good day for the green machines.
Stu, what's your plans going into summer break and then into round number 10?
Man, there isn't much of a summer break for myself. We got National Enduros going through. I'm gonna go out west and try the Vegas Reno and just keep racing. I got another kid on the way, so I figure while I've got what little time we do have, we're just gonna stack it full and enjoy dirt bike for these last few years of racing. But shout out to the whole Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki team, Monster Energy, Red Line, Steel City Men's Clinic, Riders Gold, Browns RV, Shoei, 9-2, Forma boots, CTI knee braces, Dunlop tires, Bulletproof Designs, Scholes MX, Old Red, Factory Connection, man, they worked their ass off this week. The Cherbys, SOS, ODI, XC Gear, Yoshimura, all the guys behind us, man. It's a hell of an effort, and we couldn't do it without these guys. But yeah, I know Mikey kind of alluded to some news, so everybody kind of wanted to know what was going on there at Ohio. So here's the news. I'll drop it on you. I tore my ACL, my LCL. Did quite a bit of damage to the knee, but I'm a fucking man, so let's stick with it.
All right, guys, that's Stu Baylor, your 3rd place on the day.
Well, there you go. That was those injuries I was alluding to. I didn't want to drop the news. That's for Stu to share, but hey, he just shared it, so now it's public right there for you. But boy, a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire for Stu Baylor, and boy, what a race today, Ben. I don't know what to say. Just a stellar job by Johnny Gerard to further himself in this championship chase.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing. Grant gave him a run for his money, but man, unfortunate that he had those brake issues. But still, Johnny just put himself in the right position and proved that he's strong. He's been consistent and not just consistently podium guy. He's been consistently winning, so that's really good for him. And man, yeah, that race to the finish was good for us to watch.
It was a fun one to watch. There is no doubt about that. Let's take a look at it with the Specialized race recap as we start on the road. Snowshoe Mountain, we pay tribute to the Blackwater 100. Row number 1 off and rolling. And that first turn, always a little tricky. But boy, how about that? Stu, good start for him. The 514 machine looking clean out in front, going through Howard's Hole right there. And Stu in control of this one early. Rest of the XC1 coming through. Your points leader, Johnny Gerard, at the back of that pack. This is some of the footage that I had missed at that point, and then through the pro pits. Stu out in front. I think Ashburn was in the 2 spot at this point. As they do a little checkup right there, and sure enough, there is Ashburn and then Johnny Gerard. And the FMF PowerPoint, maybe not the most famous part of Snowshoe Mountain. I talked to you, Ben. I was like, that is a gnarly, gnarly section right there.
Yeah, very gnarly. They kind of make it look easy, but it's a lot steeper than it looks. Plenty of rocks, all the little water bar hills. But yeah, as we see here, we get the pass of Johnny Gerard on Stu Baylor to take the lead earlier in the race.
Man, you could see Stu trying to fire right back there, but boy, all the momentum going the way of the 969 of Johnny Gerard. Ooh, little bunny hop, love it. You're right, he makes that look way, way too easy. As this race wore on, Grant getting stuck behind a lapper. We missed that shot. He said, pardon me, lapper, excuse me. I'd like to get around it. And then we see this pass. That pass right there, that was the grown man move. The Grizzly was awoken. And from here, it was really the Grant Baylor show. We found out later, hey, he lost rear brakes, plays a factor. Gerard able to get back around him. And then at this point, it was a race against the clock. Can Gerard put enough of a gap on Grant Baylor, or can Grant Baylor stay on the rear wheel, hang on to the win on the adjusted time? Unfortunately, that right there. And he said, I sent a girl down the hill. I'm so sorry for that. We missed that. Hopefully she's all right. Good sport. Grant saying sorry, but nonetheless, checkered flag flies. Johnny Girard checks in, and you could see him looking over the shoulder there saying, is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? Okay, I think I'm safe. I think I got the race won. And there's a look of disappointment from Grant, but Ben, honestly, an incredible day by him.
Yeah, he's going to be hard on himself because he did everything he could, but man, a little bit of a mechanical there with no rear brakes, and to still nearly get that win, only miss it by a second or so is impressive. He could take a lot of good momentum from his finish today and take it into summer break.
Girard with the win. Baylor a second. Stu Baylor a third. Ashburn fourth. And Grant Davis rounding out the box. Obviously, Grant will take that win in the XC2 class. Evan Smith, Josh Toth, solid day for him in the XC2. 7th OA. Dante Oliveira, been awesome having him out here with us racing. Finishing in 8th. Josh Strang 9th. And Bad Thad Duval rounding out that top 10. And let's talk Dante Oliveira. He's going to head back to the West Coast. When we come back from summer break, we'll be seeing the 5-3-0. We normally do final thoughts right here. Ben, how stoked are you to be coming back to GNCC? We've loved having you in the booth, by the way. Thank you so much this season, getting that perspective. But how excited are for you to be able to throw the leg back over the machine and go racing with these boys?
Yeah, I'm excited, super excited. Like I said, I just started riding again, and man, I got a lot of work to do to get up to these. Be up to form so I can jump in and race with these guys who have been racing all year. But I have 2 months, and I'm looking forward to it. It's been fun to call the action. I'm one of the guys that usually watches the races afterwards anyways, so it's cool, and give a little insight at what little I can.
No doubt.
Studying these guys as much as I can and try to put it to them once I get back out there, but it's going to be no easy task.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you out there. Hey, I shred my Racer TV shirt. Hope Carrie Joe didn't get mad at me. I got my GBC because our man Johnny Gallagher had to head out to Oregon, I think. Had to fly out nonetheless. So we missed you today, Johnny Gallagher. That is going to wrap things up for us. We're going to take a summer break from GNCC, but don't forget, Racer TV will be back with Loretta Lynn's. I think that's next for us. That'll be here before you know it at the end of July going into August. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Harum, Liam Draper, Ben Kelly, our camera operators, JC, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, Kirsten, Cameron, and Jack, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, manager, Dan Reinhardt, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our director, Don Hampton, our producer, Adam Gordon, and our executive producer, Miss Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.